Greetings, everybody. This is G20, and welcome to another episode of Unsolved. As always, I am joined by Michael.
Hello.
He's playing Gene Franklin's as before. I'm joined by Brianne.
Hello.
Who's playing Leslie Hart. And then it's Zia.
Hello.
Who is Lisa Danielle Bruno, who has a very long name. And then we have Kellen.
Hi there.
He was absent last game, but he is playing Special Agent Richard Barden, who was sadly could not make it last time due to just shit happened basically. But now we have the whole team, and but they are split. Nobody knows where Special Agent Richard is, and Jean, Leslie, and Lisa are off on their own. Now, we are going to have a recap of the story, mostly for the sake of Richard Barton. But let's see. I'm gonna roll a D3 here, and that is going to decide. Jean is 1, Leslie is 2, and Lisa is 3. So, who is it going to be? I see no result. It's 2. So, Brianne, I want you to tell us about what happened last time. Oh, I noticed that she's muted at the moment.
Sorry. Last time we started off with a brief detour to the crime scene where we didn't get a whole lot, except we saw that the ground was very trampled. After that, we went to the newspaper office to talk with Miss Underwood. And we got a lot of information, which mostly boiled down to she had done her due diligence, giving the police everything that she had, and the police, in their turn, hadn't given that information to us. Jean threw a hissy fit. And we asked Miss Underwood to keep it pretty much to herself, and we were heading out to sort of scope out Robert Manley, who we're deciding whether we are or not going to interview. What time of the day is it at the moment?
When you arrived at the parking house that you were going to return Lisa's dad's car, it's around 12 o'clock, it's noon basically.
Okay.
I wasn't completely sure whether it would have been like 12 a.m. or not. I think it's 12 a.m. That should be correct.
Noon is 12 p.m.
12 p.m. it is then.
12 a.m. is midnight, so it would be odd for Miss Underwood to be keeping office hours.
Yeah, I'm still a bit confused on the... going to the States really helped me understand a lot better how the how time works in the States. It works completely different. Oh. But it's... I had to get used to the PM and AM thing.
No.
And I'm mostly used to it, but there's sometimes I get confused.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's around noon, so it's 12 p.m. You are currently at the parking garage now, and you haven't heard anything from Richard at this time. And the question was whether or not, you were going to take a taxi, but are you going to contact Richard Barton first?
Question.
Yes.
Are we hungry?
You would probably be hungry, because the last time you guys ate was around what? You guys woke up around 6, and you were like ready to go and eat breakfast around like ate breakfast around 7, so you guys would be hungry. It would be due time for lunch. So if you want your guys, you could get your guys to go and have lunch, and
If I see that here's the thing, Lisa probably would have suggested, that we meet Richard for lunch, to sort of.
I mean, you guys would be discussing that right now.
However, she is very depressed and very quiet, and probably isn't going to talk to you guys unless you talk to her.
Yeah. So currently, you're just like parking the car in the garage. So we are going to pick up at that point. So you Lisa are parking the car. It's like on, let's say, it's like a parking house. Did you say?
Yeah, it's like a multi-story parking garage. There's a certain number of reserved parking spots, and she just goes to the ones that are reserved to her father and parks. Do I have to roll to not bump the fender?
No. No,
okay.
It's not that challenging to drive. Like when you're in calm situations, you shouldn't need to roll like drive or anything like that.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we have to do the skill ups from last game because I didn't want to do that in case Richard would arrive. Now, just before we go into complete story mode here, who got skill ups from last time? And Richard, did we increase your skills, or did you get any like skill upgrades?
First session, I did get a listen upgrade. That was the only thing I succeeded on critting first session.
Oh, okay. So you haven't rolled the upgrade though.
If there were any other upgrades, then no, I have not done anything other than that one skill.
Okay, so I'm gonna check here really quickly whether or not yeah, okay, you did roll the increase. So yeah, we did do that, but I think we forgot to do it for everyone at the end of the first session. We're going to do it at the beginning of every session this from now on. So Leslie or Jean, did you have any increases?
I have psychology and spot hidden.
I got psychoanalysis and psychology.
Okay, so let's start with you, Jean. Roll to increase.
Well, I failed, so I succeed.
Yeah, you couldn't have succeeded much worse than this. Oh, nice. It's a D5, so you got a 2.
Okay.
Next would be you got 2 skills. So let's do your second skill.
Yep, that one fails too.
Nice. And you got a 3 this time.
Thank you.
And Leslie. Oh,
I
you
also
critically
failed.
Congratulations.
Is it D10?
Because you critically failed, I'm gonna let you roll a. I was going to say I was gonna let you roll a D8, and you can take it as a like just as it lands. Okay, so it's a 3, just the same as you would have gone with a D10. Basically, I was giving you a D8 instead of a D5 because you critically failed.
Perfect. And for my psychoanalysis, I did not fail that.
No, so that does not increase. Lisa, do you have any skills that you got to increase?
Dude, I only rolled good once.
Yeah, but like I don't remember how well you rolled. Although it can't have been that good.
My spot hidden is at I think 60.
Oh yeah, you just like barely made it.
No. Hey, I rolled a 22.
Oh, okay. So I'm sorry.
Don't take away my only good roll, Godpool.
I was confusing it to the time that Leslie rolled and almost failed on her
Yeah.
psychology roll when she was like looking at the police officers.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, Gene, you succeeded at failing, which is pretty great. in this time around, it's pretty great. But yeah, so we are ready to start off properly now. So, Lisa, you parked the car at the second floor. You just drive around, and since you guys, since the argument you guys had in the car, at least Leslie and Jean had in the car, it's been in like a heavy silence in the car. Like from time, like you did have this the tiny discussion before, but like driving between places, it was pretty awkward. Would be the best term to describe it.
After we get out of the car, I would probably turn to them and saying, "I have to leave a tip," and then go and tip the just like walk stiffly away and go to tip the parking guard or something.
So you were taking like with you all of the documents that you had in the car and stuff like that, correct? You're not leaving it in the car.
Well, I don't think I took the.
You didn't take like any big. You scribbled down some information and took some you took not like an official paper document.
Yeah, because remember in my inventory is a notebook.
Yeah,
I would imagine I would have just used the notebook.
Okay, so you just wrote it into the notebook.
Attached to my person.
Okay, so yeah, okay, then there's nothing like in the car that you need to have worry about. So Lisa walks off to go to one of the the parking, the guys and guard the parking lot. And what, Jean and Leslie, what do you want to do at this time? Are you going to wait for her, or are you going to head downwards?
Where's the guy she's tipping?
It depends on like where we are, but if it's like
I would guess it's like it's downstairs, like close to the entrance, because you have to go through there to just leave.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah. We'll follow.
So she awkwardly says that she's going to go and pay the.
We stop for a second. And Jean turns to Leslie. Can we trust her? We can't trust any of the other police. I don't believe we can trust her either.
I look at Leslie, I look at my own back. I look at Lisa's back, and I just shake my head and said, "Yeah, I think we can trust her. She's still green behind the ears, but she clearly loves her job. You don't become corrupt by loving your job." She seemed just as surprised as we were. Okay. And she did agree not to tell the police that we went to see Miss Underwood.
I still have to call this into headquarters. If we have the police stonewalling us, that's at least obstruction of justice. We might need more help on this.
I'm not going to stop you.
You can't. One thing you do though see, like as you walk. One thing you do see, like as you watch her like walk away. She did seem to be like obviously troubled by what had happened, like what had occurred in the and like by also the whole like silence, but she does give a kind of like the air of genuine like. Just by looking at her, you kind of get like this feel, somewhat of, at least Leslie would get this, that get kind of a feel that she is genuinely does enjoy her job and want to do good in it.
And I did succeed at the roll last time to recognize that she did not see had not seen the pictures from the reporter before, but Jean is still hesitant to give her an inch with everything else that's happened.
Yeah.
It's not to the point that he thinks that she's in cahoots with them, but he's still not trusting where her loyalties lie.
And that is a fair way of like being somewhat cautious about this whole situation.
Metagaming. The little booth where the dude would be like, the little like security guard type parking person booth would have a telephone. And if you didn't want to call in at the hotel or the just like a phone booth, because she tipped him, the guy would probably be more than welcome to let you make a call.
I mean, when you arrive at the booth, you hear this stout little man go like, "Hey, little Miss Bruno."
Yeah.
How you doing? How you doing, little girl?
Oh my god.
I'm doing very well, Oscar. How are you?
Oh, Oscar's fine. How you parking your
How's your
dad's
dog?
car?
Walker!
Oh no,
California!
my dog's fine, yo. I did that accidentally. I wasn't planning on doing that, but it's because I use this I use this accent when I'm like fucking around. So and I always add yo to the end of the sentences. So I'm making a genuine effort of not saying yo, because he's not saying yo. Yeah, Oscar, Walker's fine.
Ooh, I mean, this isn't Lisa, but what did you call it?
You said his dog, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the dog's name is Walker.
Ah, okay.
How can I help?
It cut out for a minute, so that sounded very strange.
So how can I help you, Miss Bruno?
In the car, Oscar. Here's the fee for gassing her back up, and here's a tip for you, as always.
Oh, you so sweet.
Make sure to get Walker a treat for me.
Oh, you know me, little Miss Bruno. I always do. Is there anything else I can do for you?
I think that'll be all, Oscar. If the gentlemen behind me are they're acquaintances of mine, should they are going to need a taxi called, if you would please. But also, if you could make sure to treat them nicely if you see them here without me. They are friends of mine.
He gives you like a somewhat of a confused look, but she goes like, all right, I can do that, little Bruno. You could just I can just hand you my phone, cause that's no problem.
Well, I wouldn't. Metagaming. I wouldn't.
No, he's offering to hand you just the phone if you're calling for a taxi.
Well, I know, but I wouldn't know like any information for a taxi company, and I would guess that one's to take care of that.
Yeah, it's completely true, but he's still offering like you guys to use his phone because he just has it like around just over the counter. He's just like, you can use my phone if you need.
Are they? Because Lisa wouldn't have any idea that they need to call in.
No. He just basically said, because you talked about the taxi stuff. He just said, "Oh, you can just use my phone. I'll just hand it over the counter." And he's not genuinely. He's not specifically offering it to you. He's offering it to you as a group. Like if your friends need to call as well.
Okay.
So like if they need to call or if you need to call, because he just noted that you might be searching for seeking a taxi. Because you did say that.
Well, I know that's what I'm trying to say. Is I'm asking him to call one.
Oh. He takes up just a phone book and places it on the counter for you. Just
At some point, Leslie's going to kind of nudge Lisa out of the way. Let me. And
he usually doesn't call taxis for everyone, so he just like thought you wanted. He just handed you the phone. But yeah.
No, I would think, you know, with the kind of car it is, that it would be kind of like a fancier place. So I was, you know, I was acting like a sort of a slightly posher, you know, would you please do this for me type of a thing at a game.
Yeah. I mean, that works, but he I was going.
It's fine.
I was going by the fact that Oscar's pretty simple.
Huh?
But yeah,
You
so
need him, not me.
I know.
So
I need to write down his name.
Leslie gets off the phone. The cab's going to be there in 5 minutes. And he turns to the other two and says, I'm not particularly hungry, but I have this idea that if I can use the phone, I'll call Richard and we'll meet him in an hour somewhere local. Lisa, is there any, like, local landmark cafes or restaurants that we could direct him to?
Do we have any idea where Richard is, other than a note that says, I'm doing my own stuff today?
I was going to call the motel and see if I could get patched through.
The simplest thing would be to either call the motel to see if he's there, or the station police precinct.
Wait, is that how you put the note? Doing my own thing today?
No.
I don't remember exactly
I
what
wouldn't put it like that.
I remember what I wrote, and I wrote exactly what I told you earlier, Richard, which was I have some stuff I need to take care of, and I have some stuff I need to take care of real quick.
Okay.
I did not write. I'm doing my own shit today. Because that would have been totally out of character.
I would have showed up at your door and hauled your ass out of bed.
He just needed a mental health day.
Yeah, just he went there just right.
Mental health day.
You know, just right after you guys went to sleep, he just walked and put his note under and just went to sleep, and he was just planning to sleep the day away.
Oh my god.
I need a me day.
Doing this and calling the cab. Gene's put the sunglasses back on and is leaned against the wall. And if you go up and try and get his attention, he's like, ow. He has fallen asleep leaning against the wall from sheer exhaustion.
It's just beautiful because, like just saying, like, I just need a me day today. So, are you going to call the station and the motel?
I'm gonna call the motel first, see if I get a response.
He is not at the motel, but he did arrive there. Maybe about a half an hour ago. No, maybe about an hour ago, and but he left soon after. But he did leave a note that he was going to, in case you guys would call, stating that he is at the police precinct at this time.
All right, then.
And we'll wait for you.
I'm gonna turn to Lisa and say, "Hey, do you have a friend in the office that you could call? Like, not the police chief and not like the front desk, but like a buddy of yours?"
What's a friend?
Well, do you mean someone that works in the precinct?
Yeah, someone who works in the precinct who is not your boss and not the lady at the front. No, guy.
Of mine?
I mean,
blankly says no.
Yeah.
All right, Lisa, this is what I want you to do. I want you to call either your boss or the lady at the front desk and ask for Richard. Because I feel like it's weird if I do it.
And she says, she says, okay, that's fine. And she goes over, dials up the police station, gives them their badge number.
It rings for a moment, and you get like LA, I don't remember the LA Central Station.
LA
How can I help you?
She gives them their badge number and asks for Agent Barton.
Agent Barden. Is that one of the FBI officers that arrived the other day?
She says, yes, I believe he is at the police station at this time.
Great.
In regards to the case that we are assigned.
And you hear like she puts her phone down and calls, Barbara, is there an FBI agent in the back? Oh, there is? In the office? Oh, he's right. He's writing something on one of them chalkboards. He'll be right out.
Thank you, Kathy.
And she puts it down for a moment. She puts the phone down for a moment, and then in a while, you hear the familiar voice of Richard Barden answering the phone.
This is Barden.
Agent Barton, it's Officer Bruno, and Hart and I are currently at the at a
I kind of motioned, just give me the phone.
Sorry, I had to cough. Anyway, Agent Franklin, Hart, and I are currently at the office park, cart park. Do you want to meet at the police station, or would you prefer to meet elsewhere? And then I see Hart motioning, and I go, hold on, you, and I shove the phone at her, at him.
Roll for face.
I'm trying to respond, and immediately she's gone. I'm like, alright.
Hello?
Richard, that you?
Yeah, Leslie, what can I do for you?
I don't know what you got, but we got something we should probably talk about in a semi-private setting. How soon can you be here?
I've got about 5 minutes of something to organize here at this precinct, but I can meet you wherever you need.
All right. I like put the phone to my shoulder. I say, Lisa, is there like a restaurant or a cafe around here?
And I say there's a taco truck like that way.
I just love how just like these just professional looking people just like, is there a private place we can talk? There's a taco truck like right down the street.
And I put the phone back to my ear and I said, so apparently there's this nice taco truck. Yeah, I've never had a taco either. It'll be a new experience. We'll meet you there in 10 minutes. And I hang up the phone.
Well, Lisa doesn't go anywhere because it's just her, so she just eats junk food.
But you would have to take a taxi there, Barden, but it's not a problem.
What were the instructions? Taco truck on what street?
Taco truck on
It's probably the only taco truck.
Yeah,
at that point.
There's probably just there's probably just a single taco truck in town, and when you just like when you put the phone down and you just say, "Where's the taco truck?" and you just hear like Barbara, and she, I know where he is, and she describes the place and tells you what street it's on.
The way it goes for me is as soon as the phone hangs up, I'm like, good thing I'm from Los Angeles. Where's a taco truck around?
and Kathy just goes on. It's at the corner of that street. I'm not trying to. I'm just laughing at what Jean just said. I'm not trying to do them. I'm making these people interesting.
It's
Wait.
okay. It's just funny.
So,
Well, no, it fits because it's LA and everybody
Right.
migrates there from everywhere else.
yeah,
No,
it's a
but-
port city.
Nobody's born in LA. They just come from somewhere else.
True.
I came here to be an actress. Problem is I'm a man.
Yeah, the biggest problem. Richard Barden, the inspiring actress.
Honestly.
All right.
So, but yeah, Kathy describes to you where you can get to this truck. What the shit is that sound?
All right. Miss Kathy, could you by any chance get me a taxi here?
Ah, sure thing.
And while she's doing that, I go back in and I finish writing the couple notes that we had discussed, and I take the one file and lock it in my briefcase.
As you are walking away, and she's like calling the cops, and you hear like someone hitting someone with a folder, and you hear the voice of Barbara saying, "Oh, he's a fine thing."
I slightly lift my jacket up and strut myself. No.
I felt like we needed to give a little bit of a side view of like how others look at you at your characters, and I think it was funny.
Oh yeah, he would probably just kind of shake it off, not even really grin. You know him at this point.
Yeah.
Maybe like the smallest inner smile.
Yeah.
But yeah. Otherwise, he goes and he does his thing.
If he could smile, he would, but he can't. No, it's not that serious. But yeah, you go and finish your business and when you walk to the front, it doesn't take very long for the taxi to arrive, and doesn't take you very long. It takes you a bit more than like 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Oh god, 10 minutes to get there. It takes maybe about 20 minutes. And
He's like, well, of course, because I'm giving terrible instructions. Yeah, the truck beside the fire hydrant with the guy eating a taco.
yeah. There's also I heard that there's also a dog on a leash, like always around this time, around like the light pole, like 2 streets from that.
Perfect
So when
instructions.
so when you drive past there, it's just 2 blocks away. And the guy's like,
And the taco truck itself has no identifying features on it.
it's just white.
That's
It's the
gives out
shadiest bullcrap ever.
It's
But
just
damn
a
if their tacos aren't fine.
It's just like a barbecue grill, like a charcoal grill on the back of a truck. And there's just this guy like with homemade tortillas and some steak strips and some grilled vegetables, just grilling things on the back of this truck and selling them for,
and
a timely correct amount of money.
it doesn't help. Also, it doesn't help that the taxi driver is Italian and speaks very little English. Life is hard for
Italian
Richard
talk-
Barden.
And then when you get there, the taxi driver pulls his head out the window and says, "Bruno! Hey!"
Hey, Bruno!
Yeah,
Hey,
he
yo,
says
Bruno!
something in rapid fire Italian.
Oh,
and
you
Lisa
meant-
just kind of
you meant-
smiles and waves.
You meant the Bruno taco place. Always sees her around this spot.
Yeah, he recognizes her from poker night.
She knows every
So-
Italian in town for some reason.
And suddenly Richard is
He knows
reminded
every
being back
sketchy
home in
weirdo in
Morgantown.
town for some reason.
Because, oh my gosh, yeah. Richard is very confused because literally Pittsburgh is about 45 minutes away from Morgantown, and there are a lot of Italians. He has stepped into the Twilight Zone.
But yeah, you do see the familiar faces of Jean, Leslie, and Lisa standing at the taco truck. Like there's no line there or anything. It seems like they were waiting for you before they're getting food.
Pay my fare, give my tip, and grab my suitcase.
You do notice though that they are somewhat awkward. at least Lisa is very awkward. Jean is as always, and I would say maybe Leslie's a bit uncomfortable standing next to Jean, who just went haywire, he just went rogue.
Well,
I'm pretty sure Leslie has this cool, calm, three-piece suit, outward appearance, like everything is fine. It's fine. Everything's going perfectly well.
That
But
look.
it does stand out with Jean on one side and Lisa on the other.
It's a very
Lisa's like kind of her posture's a little more drooped than this morning. She's just kind of like she looks almost sulky, and she's slightly blushing from being like called out from the taco truck or from the taxi cab.
You three notice Richard Barden approaching, and as he does,
I look at each of them, nod. Jean, Leslie, Officer Bruno.
Richard? Kid?
All right. Well, when you said go to a private area, didn't expect out in the open getting food, but all right.
There's like nobody else there except for the guy running the taco stand and the dog like 2 blocks away.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought it was a little more...
No, there are people around, but like around that spot, like it's pretty, like it's not isolated away from everything, but like people wouldn't really pay too much mind there. It's more private
for
than
the 3 obviously FBI agents.
it's more
probably not the best part of town. A police officer.
It's more private than you would have had in the police station, that's for sure.
Well, I just kind of shrug my shoulders, walk past him, look up. Yes, I'll have 3, please.
Lisa
and he nods to you.
Lisa mumbles that their steak tacos are very delicious.
And you
steak.
And you see the man behind, like at the counter, just like skillfully make a couple, 3 tacos, and it's kind of like watching someone dance, and like he's just doing it like he has music on in the background. He's just like having fun with it. It is a Mexican.
No.
But
would like to find a seat.
Yeah, your tacos. He says and hands it over.
All right.
That was a very Icelandic way of saying over. Oh crap! Just my native accent just dropped into that heavy. I'm not sure if you guys noticed it, but I did.
I would imagine there are a couple, like, those fabric director chairs?
Yeah.
I would imagine that there are a couple just, like, strewn around, but still you can, like, walk across the street. Or you can walk across the sidewalk, but there are a few chairs strewn around for people to sit and eat.
Yeah, there are a couple. You could easily, like, they're also a bit, like, very close to the truck. There are a couple of, like, tables that you could have. So you could just sit at one of the tables.
There's room on the sidewalk for tables?
No, like you could move one from the truck and just like pull it. But
kind of like an open lot type thing, like an open parking lot sort of situation.
Yeah, because he's.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Because there's a little bit of space, and like you would be a little bit on the sidewalk. Like you're not completely on the sidewalk. It's like on a bit of a like a. It's not in an alleyway, but think about it like as a part like of an area that doesn't have a whole lot on it.
Like an empty lot between 2 buildings or something?
Yeah, something like that. Just tucked there, making it even harder to find.
God, I want tacos so bad now.
I had tacos like at a spot in Philadelphia one time, and now I really want tacos.
It is to find good, like, Mexican food in fucking Oregon.
Oh, do you know how hard it is to find good? It's like impossible here in Iceland. So, I mean, but yes, you're kind of like tucked into this like in between the streets, but it's a small taco stall. So, and you could like take, as I said, one table, kind of like move it from the place and like just put your chairs around it. It's a very
what is
basically
what is Richard wearing? Because we've described that we're doing like a casual type, clearly not FBI outfit in the last game.
Yeah, you guys were wearing casual clothes. Richard is wearing a suit. Because the fun thing is, he did specifically say that.
Yep. Well, once I describe what happened, I wasn't wearing a suit earlier.
No, you weren't. But then things changed, and you went back to your office suit.
In all fairness, it could be a businessman meeting up with his friends for lunch.
He's not in his birthday suit, that's for sure. Now, are you gonna? So you pull out like one of the tables and put them to the side and pull 4 chairs. All of you are getting food, I'm guessing, except for Leslie because he wasn't hungry. Jean,
I'd probably get a small something.
Yeah. So, for the sake of simplicity, I'm just gonna say like it's really cheap there. So, cheap. I'm just gonna say like you pay $1 for like the taco, and this is mostly just for the sake of simplicity, so that I don't need to check out what the cost of tacos would be.
I'm sure it was cheap enough that $1 gets you 3 at that point in the 40s.
Well,
Yeah, probably.
yeah, I think.
Okay, so according to the internets, $1
Would be like 16.
Yeah, it's 16.70. So that's a really
Say it's a quarter then.
Good grief! All right, yeah.
I mean, you're getting them tacos.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, you pay like you
tacos.
everyone pays like $1 to get 3 tacos, and then Leslie goes like, "Oh no, I'll just like give you like a quarter." And you get a taco. But yeah, and you take a seat around this table. All of you have your food at this time, and
I'm gonna make sure that I'm sitting next to Lisa.
Jean doesn't get anything to eat.
Okay.
Jean is so like emotionally unwell. It's starting to become physical.
Jean is a very emotional man. I've come to learn this.
Jean needs a nap.
I think Jean needs a permanent nap.
Well, it was asked for. Pull out my gun.
But yeah, what do you do once you've taken seat in eating? I was guessing that you were going to share some information, correct?
Alright.
Because Richard wasn't with you guys, so I'm guessing you would want to fill him in.
Yeah,
Richard starts eating tacos.
So Leslie makes sure that there's nobody around. If you want me to like make a roll to make sure, I'm gonna make sure there's no one who could possibly overhear us.
So what I want you to do is, this is perhaps not the most fitting. I'm gonna actually open up your character sheet because I can. Woohoo! And I'm mostly doing that so that I can actually have the skill list in front of me.
Uh-oh. That's useful.
Leslie Hart. Okay, I'm just gonna need to do this here. I was thinking that it would be... Normally it would probably be spot hidden, I would think.
Please don't make it spot hidden. Not with
That's
rolling
me,
a
that's
D
you.
under.
So,
I have a terrible spot hidden.
so I am.
The gaming gods show no mercy.
Although I have terrible dice rolls, I have 60 in spot hidden. If you start to look around, like, to see if anyone's here, Lisa could also, like, sort of clue into that and see, and also do, like, a little, see what we're looking for.
I'm going to say because in this situation, because like you start looking around and then Lisa starts to like kind of help you. I'm going to give you. It's going to be a spot hidden check, but you are getting a 10% like advantage onto it, which is basically Lisa assisting you. And
Friendship!
but did you? Your spot
What?
hidden. You made it. And because you made it with the assistance of Lisa, I'm going to say that Lisa notices this, notices the stuff that happens. So you're kind of looking around the area, and but Lisa, you note that it's not like you notice that like the guy with the taco stand, he's kind of like. He's obviously watching you because he's kind of like he hasn't had like you're a pretty colorful group of people, so he's
I imagine I'm a pretty good customer, too.
yeah, so he's mostly he's just you think that he's just wondering what you are doing with these three weirdos.
Yeah.
And but you don't notice specifically that anyone is watching you or paying you any specific heed. But but you do notice one thing, and that is that there is a police officer walking past, and I want you to do me a good favor of rolling an idea roll.
What's idea?
Um,
Like, what, where would that be?
Sounds
Or
fun.
do you know my idea?
That would be, let's see.
Oh, it actually is on there. I see it under characters.
Your idea is 75. It's not like with your characteristics and stuff.
What? Oh god, it's so high, I'm totally gonna fail this.
There's no critical success or anything.
Hey!
Oh!
Roll the game!
I just heard everyone like cheer, and I wasn't even looking at the roll.
I got an 18.
Good job. Now, with your idea, you kind of you figure that this guy's probably walked past now at least 3 times, and it's the same guy.
Do I recognize this man?
Not specifically, no.
Okay.
He is obviously a police officer from just what you noticed, but your idea kind of
how
gives
about
you
this? From like the rotational sort of schedule, would I have any idea if this area would be like enough to warrant like 3 pass-bys?
Basically, is he a beat cop walking the streets?
What I was about to say, you kind of figured that with your idea roll being so good, you kind of figured that he's probably like he is probably a beat cop, but he's probably a beat cop that has been assigned to follow you guys, probably to make sure that you are doing your job. Like
In that
like
case,
as a backup.
I would probably like either clear. How close is Leslie? How close is he to me?
You figure though that he was probably following Richard at the time because he came from the police station.
Well, yeah, but how close is Leslie to me?
I mean, how close do you want to be to her, Leslie?
I specifically said I'm sitting next to her at the table.
Yeah. So yeah,
Okay,
Leslie's
in that
next to you.
case, that I like nudge with my foot or something like not easily seen, and I flick my eyes towards the beat cop.
Oh, that is so.
Like something that's not easily seen.
I know that the conceal roll is specifically used to conceal objects.
Would it be sneak?
Roll sneak for me, because you're trying to do this
I shouldn't have
sneakily.
said sneak. My sneak is so bad.
I was either
Okay.
going to have you roll hide or sneak. I might actually have gotten you to roll conceal, because I don't see like anything that is like innuendo or anything like that.
But it's basically all the same.
Yeah. So
Or conceal. You want
So-
conceal?
I'm gonna.
have to like pass it.
He needs to roll. He needs to roll against it. So,
Right.
but the like how difficult it is for him depends kind of on how sneakily she does it.
Okay, so I'm rolling conceal.
Let's say conceal, because I feel like that makes more sense in this situation.
Yep.
Oh,
No.
Okay, I'm gonna roll for him. I mean, it's not hard for him to see this at all.
To be honest, it makes sense thematically.
But he does not, because I rolled a 87.
Of course, my image in my head of this whole thing is that's not very professional. She's giving googly eyes
Um,
at Leslie.
He doesn't notice you specifically noticing him, but he does notice you doing something. But he doesn't at least if he did notice you doing something, he didn't give like any like outward signs of.
Okay, wait, but does Leslie notice me doing something, or does she, or does
I
he
mean-
think I'm?
Leslie, okay, this is because at this point you don't know each other
This is
that well,
language.
but it's body
but
language.
and so it should be psychoanalysis.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it would happen either psychoanalysis or psychology, but psychoanalysis I would say in this case.
I kind of want you to fail this just for the lol.
It would have been really funny if she would have failed this. But yes, you.
I got an almost hard success.
Yeah, you figure that Lisa is kind of she's kind of eyeing the police officer over there, kind of giving you she's hinting that there's something up with that police officer. And she didn't say anything, but you notice the guy.
At this point, she's afraid to say anything because she thinks her boss is like, trying to do something sketchy with the FBI.
So Leslie reaches into his pocket, pulls out a notepad, and starts writing on it quickly. Pretty much at the top it says, "Richard, eat this note." When you're finished reading it. And I write down really briefly, "Cops probably crooked," and then in like parentheses, "not Lisa," in all capital letters. And then I'll draw like a little stick figure of like a policeman.
The whole
and like
the whole
I'll
fact.
shove it across to Richard.
Do you at least put ketchup on it for him first?
The whole fact that you just like wrote the first thing you wrote on this was, "Richard, eat this when you're done," and it was glorious.
Why does he have to eat it? He could just shove it in his pocket.
If I could, if I could,
No, let it play, let it lie.
if I could ever do if this would ever become like great thing, I would love to have a T-shirt that just says, "Richard, eat this," and it's just a piece of paper. A great line by Leslie Hart.
At this point, like, Lisa pulls out her notebook too and says, and writes down, "Good idea. We should probably, write down our conversations at this point, just until the police officer following."
I mean, he is not that close to you that he would have an easy time of listening to what you're saying.
Like, close enough that she's super paranoid. So
Yeah,
she passes it then to Leslie.
he's like you're a bit into the side, like the alleyway that you're in, and he's just on the street, and he like goes past the past, and then maybe like 10 minutes pass, and then he comes around again.
Yeah. So Lisa starts trying to make like awkward small talk in order to distract him.
Yeah.
Before you get to that point, when Leslie pushes the note across to Richard the first time, Gene sort of sees it over his shoulder and just sort of holds his hands out, looks at Leslie and goes, "What the fuck are you guys doing?" Because he's missed all the other stuff going on. All he sees is the top line that says, "Richard, eat this."
Just like while Gene is just ranting about this, just Richard takes it up, and the first thing he says, "Richard, eat this note when you're done." And just like, just the immediate moment of confusion.
And Lisa is super confused because she thought we were just writing notes to communicate. She had no idea what Leslie actually put on the note. So she hears Richard eat this, and she goes, "What the fuck?" in her mind, and with her face.
It is the greatest exchange between police officers I've seen yet.
Alright, so I get handed a note that says Richard eat this. And then, what was the other part? Because that really lost its importance.
What's the important part?
The bottom line is that I am not a bad guy.
Richard, that's not important. You just need to eat this. Oh my god.
So Richard ate this. It says cop is crooked, not Lisa. And there's a stick figure.
Yes, and it's like Lisa, not Lisa, in like capital letters with as many explanation marks as he like could put there. Just like
Lisa just has a what the fuck face on.
yeah, Lisa's just really confused at this moment.
I look at the letter. I look up. I see, of course, Gene's response. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's just like when you look at like Leslie, he's like dead serious at this time.
At this point, Lisa, like, she hadn't finished sliding her note to Leslie. She just sort of slides it over to Gene instead.
I just see this happening in my head. Just like she's halfway sliding it to Leslie and just stops and just moves into an entirely different direction.
Yeah, and it just says, we shouldn't speak. We should communicate by notes until the police officer following Agent Barden leaves. I don't believe he's a beat cop assigned to this area. And she's just got this what the fuck face on now.
Yeah.
From the outburst. And it's just like a normal make sense note. And she's passing it over to Gene like...
So,
Instead of using notes to write anything back, I'm of the mind to go, well, it's been a long time since I was in 5th grade, but... the proper response to this is, do you like me? Check yes or no.
Agent Barden, do you check yes?
Leslie, I want, like when you see the police officer go by again, I want you to roll psychology for me.
Alright.
Oh my god, I'm gonna save this so I can share this actually with the people. Because I want to share this with the people of the internet, because this is beautiful.
Moving this.
I got another success.
Okay, so you do notice that the this time around he doesn't have any like specific facial changes or anything, but he seems to be really confused because he's walking past and all of you guys are saying "What the fuck?" and he seems to be. His facial expression kind of gives him gives you the impression that he's thinking, "What did I miss?"
Can I roll?
No, wait. I wanna say everybody wave to the nice cop and start waving.
He
know you're there.
when you
Lisa starts waving.
when you start waving, he gets really quickly flustered and kind of like strides off really fast because he realized he was discovered, and now he isn't feeling too great about himself.
I look at Gene.
Okay,
well,
but how did
at least
Gene
I don't have
react to the
put pen and
note?
paper
I want to
anymore.
know how he reacted to the note Lisa passed.
So, for the nice people of the internet, I'm going to share this glorious note that
And when everyone else waves, Gene just gives him like a nice big Jack Nicholson smile and just like a 2-fingered salute before he takes off.
Oh my god, that's so beautiful. This note is huge in the recording software. Oh crap.
It's awesome.
But this note is like the best shit ever.
The sinking feeling that she is not going to be keeping her promotion for very long.
So, I'm just gonna let this dawn the the screen for a while. This doesn't need to leave anytime soon. This is just great. Oh my god, I'm just looking at this. I am loving it. So, but yeah, the police officer here walked really fast away. And he doesn't return. You don't think he's going to return anytime soon. He's probably staking out a bit further away, but definitely out of earshot this time.
Alright, so
I pushed the note back to Leslie and I'm saying you might want to put that on your refrigerator.
I fold it up and shove it in my wallet.
Thinking with
So
while everyone's distracted, Lisa sort of pulls her note back to herself and tries to making any without having them notice, just sort of take it back.
just slowly. But yes, Leslie, you were saying?
I was saying real quick before anyone overhears us. Basically, the pictures that we were shown by the head cop were not all of the pictures that he received. We just talked to Miss Underwood, who's the reporter he was telling us about, and she showed us a lot more photos. So, pretty sure there's some dirty dealing going on in there. So we got the name of another guy. We're going to investigate. What have you been doing?
I was following up on a particular lead that was just eating at me the night before last night. You remember when I asked if there had been anyone that had talked to any of the homeless in the area?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people disregard them, especially the vets after the war. I decided to take a little bit of my own experience in that department, and I went to one of the shanty towns that was located in the area. I did a little digging around, and I pulled a piece of information that was not on file. We've got a car that would have been located in the area sometime around 1 to 2 a.m. Merely heard, but in an underdeveloped area at that point, the morning of the 15th when all this would have occurred. So yes, there were tire tracks and everything, but now we have at least a window of time that we didn't have before. And once I had that piece of information, another thing I thought to do when I got back to the precinct, none of us had ordered the mortician's report, so I went ahead and put in that request. And let me just tell you, it took a while to get that. I was getting double-dealed the whole time I fought to get that. But I've got the, I was starting to read over that file when I got the call from you guys. I got as far as the coroner's name, Frederick Newbar, the LA County coroner. But that was as much as I got on the board for information. I've got the file locked away in my suitcase.
Are you sure you got the whole file?
I have not been able to review the whole thing just yet, but with the name of the coroner, we at least have that bit of a tie-in to go and talk to that person.
Question: would I know that name or the coroner, having been a police officer and working in the same circles?
Yes, it's Dr. Frederick Newbar.
Would I know anything about him or anything?
Not in particular. You know his name because he's the coroner. But you don't know anything specific about him.
I do apologize for my absence, but it was something I felt that I had to just go follow up. It just was eating at me.
No, that's fine. So we had talked about going. Excuse me. Going to talk with Robert Manley, who was possibly the last person to see the deceased before she was in fact deceased. But with the fact that there is someone following you, or at least was someone following you, and I think it's important that you continue up on your investigation, I'm suggesting you take Jean and go back to the station to continue doing that work. And Lisa and I will continue on investigating Mr. Manley.
I look at Gene. Sound good to you?
Meh. Just sort of shrugs his shoulders.
He's grumpy he didn't get his nap this morning.
No, I took it on the wall while you were calling him the cab. Good work, kid, though.
Of course.
So,
anything else from your part yesterday that I don't know yet? Or today, sorry, early this morning.
Really boils down to the cops are shilling us. They're not giving us their whole file. Is Lisa standing right there?
yeah,
she's just
sitting.
sort of sinking in her seat.
I'll fill you back in when we get to the motel, because I don't want to have the conversation with Lisa right there that I'm going to call in the artillery on the police precinct.
I mean that does make sense though. That you don't want to, you wouldn't want to tell you didn't want to tell the police officer that you're gonna rat out her workplace.
Right. I told Leslie in the car before Lisa got there. I'll tell Richard when we get back to the motel.
Yeah.
Okay. I may have some perspective on that too, so that'll be good.
So it's around this time that you decide to split up for now. Are you going to make any plans on when you're going to reconvene?
So what time is it now?
I'm saying that you're probably it's around 1 p.m. when you
Our lunch.
Yeah, because it was 12 a.m. when you p.m. when you when they called you, and it took you overall 25 minutes to arrive there from the call, so it was more 35-minute lunch.
But an edible note lasts a lifetime.
That is correct.
So I suggest that we meet up at the diner.
You do that. I'm gonna I'll be right back in a second. Continue on.
If it's about 1:30 now, I suggest we meet up at the diner at 7, unless something comes up, in which case you're going to be at the precinct, right? And we can contact you there.
Contact the motel first and then the precinct.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, we're agreed.
Yep.
So I'm trying to think of where you could get a cab ride back to the police station, because I doubt the taco guy has a phone in his taco truck.
No, but if this is, like, in the time period that this is, on, like, every block or every other block, there'll be, like, a phone booth.
Yeah,
Didn't we walk to the taco truck? Can't we just walk back to...
Yeah, you
The
could. It
parking
was the
garage?
taco truck was like 3 blocks from the parking garage, so you could just walk back there, ask for Oscar's phone again.
So I guess we all walk back to the parking garage so that Lisa and I can get another car, and so that Jean and Richard can get a ride back to
The precinct.
to the precinct.
I am back.
Yay!
So, you are going to be driving, getting the car again, and then driving the guys to the precinct.
Yeah, we could do that too.
You could just drop us off at the motel. We're not going back to the precinct yet.
Okay. So, when did you decide to reconvene?
7.
About
7
dinner.
p.m.
And if
About 6 hours.
contact the hotel or the motel first before contact the precinct, if we have something that comes up beforehand.
So I just made a note into my Word that I'm using to note down everything for the campaign that's happening, and I made a note that's called "Split." The party has done so.
Most dangerous role-playing
right-
history.
Yes, Leslie, you were saying.
Sorry. When we're about to let Jean and Richard out of the car, I stopped them and I said, we need a signal in case something happens, like you've got a gun to your head.
I'll be nice.
Whistle the Addams Family tune.
Da-da-da-da.
Yeah, did it?
Does that exist at this point?
No, that doesn't. That's why it would be funny.
Leslie, you're a former soldier, right?
I am.
For me, if something's messed up, I will say situation is, or wait, I will use the term snafu, which you would know means situation normal, all fucked up.
Okay.
Snafu.
Sorry, I couldn't help it.
It's my fault.
Oh, I thought it was the GM whistling.
I tried, but nothing happened.
I
I'm a
succeeded,
bird.
and then I couldn't stop.
So you do have a call-out sign if something goes haywire. I'm going to write it down myself.
Yes, if everyone agrees, sorry for the language, Officer Bruno, but snafu. We'll say everything is snafu, situation normal, all fucked up.
I wrote, everybody panic, shit is real. That's the new meaning for snafu. But yeah, so you've been officially dropped off at the motel, and Jean and Lisa are leaving to Richard Manley's place. Now, I'm going to roll a die here, and I'm going to decide which group I'm going to do
if
first.
If we are going to Manley's place, I would probably want to get changed into more clothes you can tackle people in.
Yeah, I mean you guys can do that. I'm gonna roll first to see who's like which group I'll do first.
Actually,
And-
I can make that easier for you. I do need to use the restroom if you would like to go with the other group first.
Okay.
If that'll make it easy.
It's gonna make things easy, but I'm gonna roll it for like the order that I'll do things. So
Okay.
tell me, I'm gonna ask just Lisa and Leslie. Do you want to go with a high number or a low number?
Hi.
Hi.
Okay. So Jean and Richard will usually be is basically in the top order of this, because they are officially low.
We lay low.
But I'm taking it as if like they are basically saying, oh yeah, we are going to lay low for 1 round.
Gotcha. Alright, we'll be right back.
So, Leslie and Lisa, we are going to start with you as you drive off from the motel. You are heading towards Lisa's home to begin with. She wanted to switch get into some more comfortable jogger-ish clothes.
Yeah, something like the equivalent to sweatpants and a sports bra of the 40s.
Yeah. So you do start by driving. This could get unprofessional. We start off by you start off by driving off to Lisa's place, who just kind of like runs in, and she isn't very long inside her house. She just kind of like she goes in, says hello to Captain Bearclaw, Sergeant Bearclaw, and then she goes and changes clothing and says goodbye to Sergeant Bearclaw, and kind of comes running out of the door. Now, is there, like, since you're changing clothes, is there anything specific that you're going to take with or leave at your house?
My inventory. Probably have her badge tucked into her shirt.
Okay.
Her wallet. Leave her gun and her switchblade.
You're going to leave those at home?
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably take the notebook and the watch. And I believe that's all she would have on her. Actually, no. She would ask Leslie whether it would be a good idea to leave her weapons behind. Like,
Are you What do you feel most comfortable with?
probably the switchblade.
Then bring the switchblade.
Tuck that into her bra or something.
So,
Or something.
I noted it down specifically that you don't have your gun. So in case anybody forgets, I have a note of it.
What is my inventory?
Just for general information for everybody else, Lisa is a really shit shot. Gals.
Oh wow, that was a loud double
person.
notification.
Only has she passed the test and that's it.
That is very much so correct.
Is really, really good at brawl and fist fighting and that kind. She's the police officer who does the running tackle on the suspect. So.
Oh, that
just
works
wonderful.
wonderful.
General fighting information.
So
that works wonderful because my character does parkour.
So
or whatever the equivalent of that is in the 40s.
So Leslie and Lisa, you are going to be heading towards Richard Manley's place, and I'm going to switch back to Jean and Richard now, since you will be driving now, and they were technically seen in the upper the first group that I was going to take. So. As you drive, the camera switches back to Richard and Jean, who are standing in the parking lot as the car drives away.
Alright, Jean, you said you wanted to go back to the motel first?
Yep.
How far away is this parking garage from the motel?
It was pretty far away. They drove you back to the motel.
Oh, I thought they dropped us back off.
We dropped you off at the motel.
Yeah.
So yeah, because you would have had to take a taxi if you wanted to be there in a good time.
Okay. All right then. I guess we'll go upstairs.
Yeah. So you start.
Remember mine.
So you start walking up up the stairs to the a second floor, and And as you're like going up, Jean asks you, Richard, your room or mine? I was just repeating his question.
We'll go to my room first. I'm going to go ahead and change, since I see that we're running a more casual look today. I'll change back into something like that.
So,
Jean just sort of shrugs and makes a hand gesture for him to lead the way.
So, Richard leads you towards his room, which is next to yours, Jean, and opens up, and you both enter the room. It's the carbon copy of your room, and he kind of like walks to his bag which is lying on the bed at this moment because he was using it earlier to switch clothes, and and it's kind of up to you whether or not you would change like in an open area because like the two of you are in there, or whether or not you would walk into like the bathroom. But you can continue the discussion you were going to have because you're just changing clothes, really.
Yeah, it'll be a bathroom thing. Still
Yeah.
very, still conservative males here.
So yeah, he just takes the clothes he's going to change into and walks into the bathroom, and
All right, so I haven't had a chance to look at that file yet. If you want to open my suitcase in there, the combination is and rattle off the spin numbers.
666, the number
Yes.
of the beast.
I thought it was 663.
It's 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5. That's the same combination I use on my luggage.
Whenever I put a combination on anything, I just pick what time it is, because how was anybody going to guess what time it was when you picked your combination?
That's a good way. But yeah, you snap open the briefcase, and there are in there. It basically just the first thing you see is a file, which you can obviously see is a coroner's file, death certificate, and stuff like that. I'm going to share the. I have the death certificate here saved on my computer, and I'm also going to share it with. Wow, that is so tiny. I was not supposed to be so tiny.
That's what she said.
I'm sharing it both with you guys and this and the recording here. Ha ha ha! You're so funny, Michael. Here is the death certificate. Now, like the whole file is like, it looks when you like
my eyes.
when you glance through it, Jean, it does look like nothing was taken out of this file. Like it contains her mug, like a photo of her on it, and it seems to have everything that it should have in it. Just by like going over it at least once. You at least have not noticed any abnormalities in it.
I cannot read a word of this file.
I've zoomed in, but it gets.
It's
fuzzy.
it's probably really hard to read it because it's not like the best resolution on this thing. But I mostly took it for the sake of being able to share it with you, in case you want. Like,
Okay.
it's like having a prop.
So we're not going to need something that is too like contrasted to read.
Yeah. So, like, it has like the location of where she died and stuff like that. And some of the stuff is readable, but not all of it. But I am going to read up basically stuff that is in the file for you. Now, according to the autopsy on Miss Short's body, otherwise known as the victim of the werewolf murder, it states that she was 5 feet and 5 inches tall and weighed around 115 pounds and had light blue eyes, brown hair, and badly decayed teeth. There were ligature marks on her ankles, wrists, and neck, and had an irregular laceration with superficial tissue loss on her right breast. Newburn noted. It's also noted that superficial lacerations on the right forearm, the left upper arm, and the lower left side of the chest. The body was cut completely in half. The second and was cut completely in half between the second and third lumbar vertebrae, thus severing the intestine at the duodenum. It's words I have not used before.
Is someone else taking notes? Because Godpool, you're kind of breaking up for me, and I can't write anything down.
Oh. What did you miss?
I missed, like, every other word of most of the sentences that you said.
Okay, I will send. I will post a copy of this onto the Discord thing for you guys.
Okay.
It's very easy to find this information though, but I will, for the sake of ease of access, I will do that. The report noted very little bruising along the incision line, meaning that it had been performed after death. So the fact that she was cut in half was means that it happened after she was deceased. Another gaping laceration measuring 4.25 inches in length ran longitudinally from the umbilicus to the suprapubic region. The laceration on each side of the face, which extended from the corner of the lips, were measured at 3 inches on the right side of the face and 2.5 inches on the left side. The skull was not fractured, but there was noted bruising on the front and right side of her scalp, which had small amount of bleeding in the subarachnoid space on the right side, consistent with blows to the head. The cause of death was determined to be hemorrhaging from the lacerations to her face and the shock from blows on the head and face. It was also noted that her anal canal was dilated at 1.75 inches, suggesting that she may have been raped. Samples were taken from her body for there were samples taken to test for sperm, but the results were negative. And I'm going to send you this information. This is information that you can pretty easily find if you are basically just searching up information on the case itself. But you would learn a whole lot about the case if you look it up, so it's better that I just send it to you.
Yeah, I probably want to avoid that. Spoilers.
But that is the genuine the stuff that you like got from it. That's the second half. I'm gonna send you also the first half.
Okay.
The numbers, basically the upper part is the second part that I was reading, and the first part is the lower part.
I'll just make a new folder and put that in.
Yeah. It's basically in reverse order, is what I'm saying. Now, let's see.
Document. Computer, don't do this to me, please. Oh, thank you.
But,
what on earth?
Are there pictures of that go with all of this documentation?
Yes, there are pictures in the file.
Is there a time of death listed anywhere in the file?
Yes, there is a time of death recorded in the file. Let's see.
Okay.
Let's see.
Thank you very much, Godpool.
No problemo, Zia. Wait, wasn't there a thing here for it? Yeah. She was thought to have been dead for around 10 hours prior to the discovery. So she died either the evening of January 14th or early morning hours of January 15th. Which you can easily decipher that coincides with the somewhat coincides with the car sounds.
Right. If her body was already like that when it was, or if it's established that according to the reports, let's see, did the report say if the whole laceration to being cut up of the body was done before or after the death? I forget.
Could you repeat that?
Basically, how the body was cut up as it was that done before or after?
It was cut after death.
Okay, so there would be a little bit of time needed. And I'm thinking this out loud. I'm actually sitting here, while Gene's looking over it as well.
Well, it was also mentioned last game while we were at the crime scene that very little of it could have happened there.
Right.
That she was definitely moved from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Oh no, what I was meaning was was the body being cut up the cause of death, but based on this report it says it.
Yeah, the shock to basically getting cut in the face and getting hit in the head and face with some sorts of object, they caused the shock that led to her death.
And
I have to wonder, just sort of mentally, if maybe she wasn't even, if maybe the person who cut up her body wasn't even part of her actual murder, and she was murdered and then taken somewhere, and then either given or sold or something.
That's going to be
cut up by someone else.
That is a very interesting thing to think about. But at this current time, the only persons that have access to this report is Richard, Barden, and Jean. So therefore, technically seen, they are the only ones that can discuss this. Haha. Now, you as you finish reading over the autopsy report, it's about that time that just Agent Barden walks out from the bathroom completely, has completely switched clothes and is comfortably is comfortably dressed now and puts his clothes into the his bag, into travel bag.
And he straps the shoulder mount for his weapon, which is a World War II model 1911, and puts a vest over, or he does the whole thing vest and that style of comfort. He still looks dapper, but not as black suit dapper. And so what do you think about it, Gene?
So who'd you get this from? Who put this file in your hands?
Godpool. Who put that file in my hands?
That would have been the I remember I told you guys that there was this guy that you could commission for the stuff that you need. And I don't remember what his position was specifically, but he's basically like the simple term would be a quartermaster. Like the guy that, like you would have to talk to him if you wanted to get access to like the armory and like 2 areas. He's like I don't remember what his
The dude that runs the file room.
yeah, basically the dude that runs the files and stuff like
He'd
that.
be the one like sitting behind the little window. We have to get buzzed in to have access.
Yeah, he's like the guy that you commission stuff from to get like access to equipment and files and stuff like that.
Alright, then we might need to double back with the coroner and make sure this is complete.
I agree. We should talk to the coroner.
Because we've already been shafted before. I don't believe the files we have are complete at all. I don't know how much they're hiding from us.
That's correct.
So what else did you find this morning? Anything else?
Like I said, that's the file that I got, but based on the information I said earlier, it's only a small thread, but it's something more that wasn't had by anybody else, and that was the car sound that was heard in the area, somewhere around the 1 to 2 a.m. period. I don't have an exact date, but that wasn't in any of the other reports on the exact time of drop-off.
You didn't get a make or a model or a color, just someone just said that they heard a car in the area?
Unfortunately, it was only sound-based, but based on the tire marks, it still would have to be a car. It just gives us a bit of a sound, so it's a little circumstantial, but it's more than a piece that anyone else was witnessing in the area.
Sure. You know we gotta call this in, right? If the cops are holding shit from us, we gotta call this into the head of the department and let them know that we got crooked cops.
But do we want to play that hand so early?
You think this is a game? We're here to solve a murder. If we have cops that are obstructing justice and we want to get to the bottom of this, we need to take care of this now before whoever killed this girl does it again.
And I certainly agree with that. But who knows if we would just be immediately reassigned or various things of that nature. We need to probably have just a little more evidence supporting our accusations as well.
Well, we can't trust anything the cops are giving us. We don't have any idea what they have and have not withheld, other than these crumbs that we keep finding along the way of stuff that fills in blanks.
And so, Gene, and I kind of give him a very rare smile, looks like we gotta do some old legwork, just like the detectives used to do, right?
No, what we really should do is call back to the department and have someone else deal with the corruption while we deal with the murder. Unless they decide they want us looking at both. I don't feel like being a double agent today. You?
I'm not much one for double agent, but let's at least talk to the coroner first before we go calling this in. Give it a day to rest.
I'd like... What's the time difference to California?
3 hours.
Yeah, from East Coast to, 3.
Yeah, so if it's probably like 2 now, they're probably closing up shop.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, fine, but I'm calling this in first thing in the morning.
Alright, Gene.
So you are planning to head to the station and speak with the coroner?
The coroner's on site. He's not like out of a local hospital or something.
Yeah, it'd probably the county hospital, wouldn't it?
He's probably at the.
He said he's a L.A. County coroner, so it'd probably be whatever the county hospital is that they use.
Yeah, he's probably at he's probably at the local hospital. That's Yeah, I think it would be like LA Central Hospital because you're at the Central Station.
Sure.
Uh,
Can I do like a very thorough, paranoid as hell spot hidden on this file, like looking through every page, seeing if there's a discrepancy on sentences ending on one sheet and going to the next, looking for anything that might have been redacted before this file was given to us?
yes, you can. Now, that would be because you are actually trying to figure out whether or not like stuff has been anything has been messed up. So I do want you to roll forgery on this.
Okay.
Because I want you to see if you notice anything that has been changed specifically with your with the file that you've been
That's a
getting.
hard success.
Sweet. So
Nice.
there is no obvious thing that has been changed on it. At least not that you would see if you weren't experienced in this. Now, you do note that all of the information the important information that you got from this was correct. But let's see. I'm gonna have to open up her file again. Now, what you do realize by going through this is that there were ligature marks on her ankles, wrist, and neck. But what you realize, basically, it's pretty ambiguous of what it could have been. It doesn't state anything, but that area has obviously been somewhat tampered with. And let's see, and the. But other than that, like, it hasn't been too altered. You think that the reason why it hasn't been too altered is because they probably didn't have time to alter it any more than they did. And this alteration looks somewhat professional, not like. At least the one that did it pretty well. You doubt that the coroner did this.
So, Jean starts cussing. Jean starts making very strange noises. Just fucking he sort of like, he doesn't scruff him, but he effectively like pulls Richard over and like walks him through exactly what was done to this report. And then gives Richard a really dark look and goes, "Are you sure you want to wait till tomorrow for me to make that call?"
Do it.
After he says that, he stands up and walks over to the phone and starts dialing.
All right. So are you going to dial the? Let's see. It was the assistant director who was overseeing. Were you going to directly call Assistant Director Nicholas Richardson, who is basically the one that oversees you at the moment?
Yes.
So, without waiting for an answer from Agent Barden, you dial
She's
up.
probably got a few seconds while I wait for it to connect.
Yeah. So, like, you
giving
dial
you
up the phone and put it up. I'm guessing you would dial the operator. Unless you'd have, like, yeah, I guess you would dial the operator and have them give you, connect you to the FBI.
Yeah.
So while that is happening, Barden, you have a time to respond here. Can you convince Gene to not call the FBI? You have few seconds to attempt this. You have
And do you even want to?
Yes.
Yes, I do. He picks up the phone, starts dialing. I press the little receiver thing down. Gene, 1 day. Let's talk to the coroner first. And I'll stare him down.
All right. If only there was a stare down skill.
Intimidate?
Well, let's see. The way he would probably do it is he would try to persuade.
Yeah. So I want you to roll. Like normally, like you wouldn't roll. I'm going to have you roll persuade, and I want you, Michael, to kind of decide how effective it is towards you, because you would probably normally say just outright like just argue it with him, but I want you to kind of decide like how well it affects you depending on what he rolls.
Okay. You ready?
Sure.
All right.
Oh,
It didn't work.
It did not work.
You fail.
No, well. Hey, he tried. He still clicked the receiver off, so there's that.
Yeah. So I mean, you still like decide how you react to this, but like obviously you do, and that's kind of the reason why I wanted you to kind of gauge how you would react to this, but it doesn't sound very convincing to you, at least.
So Gene's got sort of the phone couched in his ear.
Mm-hmm.
And he had sort of like turned away from the phone when he heard the receiver click. And he turns back, and Richard's sort of staring him down and says, "Wait 1 more day." And Gene sort of reaches out and just sort of smacks Richard's hand away and redials back to the FBI. Doesn't even
Does he
say
do
anything.
a Gibbs head slap?
That stare.
We have some beautiful drama going on. I'm loving this. And this is where we will switch back to Lisa and Leslie. The camera, the scene changes back towards a red Plymouth kind of rolling into a neighborhood. Slowly but
Are we
surely.
taking that car?
I mean, didn't you go and get...
Take that car?
I mean, didn't you go and get that car? To drive them?
I said we were going to switch cars.
Okay. I mean, then you are driving a different car. What car would... Denied. What car would you want to be on? Your dad has like a couple of cars, so you could probably get like another one.
Yeah,
I would
the black one.
imagine. Would he own a black one? Yeah, I would imagine just like your standard like 40s
Okay, I have a glorious
version of a pickup truck.
So I have a glorious idea of what
Good.
car this could be, and
Good.
before I state like with too much glee that I know what I'm talking
afraid.
about.
I'm very afraid.
So these are not okay, sweet. Like these cars are not very obvious, but you probably have one. Like you're probably picking one in a very dull color. But these are very like they were somewhat they were pretty common around that time. At least they were like they're not uncommon at least. And image please. I'm gonna send you guys a link to this, but I need to. And this here is the other car, and it is a, but it's not in like the greatest of states. So it's as I would call it, it's a shitty Skoda.
Okay, maybe like in like a brown or a black.
Yeah, it's the car that he uses like for like for like shitty stuff.
Yeah.
It's like I'm sharing this picture on the recording, but the car is not nearly that good looking. It is like a poop brown, and it's
got like a couple bumps on the fenders.
Yeah, and it's a bit rusty at places.
Maybe one headlight is cracked.
Yeah.
Still working, but cracked.
This would not. I mean, sure, like people would look at it, but it does not gather like any specific. Like, it's not it doesn't stand out that much, at least compared to the other car.
He keeps this car because he hates it, and he refuses to take care of it because he hates it, but he won't get rid of it because he's stubborn.
Yeah. So we switch to the scene of a kind of a popping sound from the exhaustion, as like a as the car slowly but surely strides into the neighborhood where you think that Richard Manley lives in, and Robert Manley lives in. I mean, and you kind of this shitty car comes into view, and you slightly stop to the side of the road. And
first thing do is like scope out the mailboxes for his name for Manley on the side.
So like as you're driving like slowly past, like you're not driving so slowly that it's suspicious, but you're driving slowly enough that you could read them.
Yeah.
You do find a mailbox that has has like the Manley name on it, which basically says Manley's.
Is it spelled the same way?
Yeah.
Okay. Like making sure everything is correct.
Yeah.
Okay, in that case, I point that out to Leslie.
So, how do you want to approach this place? Are you gonna drive past it and find a place somewhat far away and kind of scope out the place, or what do you want to do?
Well, is it more like God, what are they called? Cul-de-sac, or is it more like
I'm just gonna say it's like a cul-de-sac. Yeah.
Okay, in that case, we'd drive down, make a little circle, or U-turn, whatever is possible with parked cars, and then probably drive out and get to the nearest, 2-hour... What?
I'm gonna say it leads into a cul-de-sac, but like there is a branching off like street before, like after that. So you don't. In that case, you wouldn't. His house is not in the cul-de-sac. It's just before you would go into it.
I'd look for like the nearest suspicious parking spot. Something with a sign that says like 2-hour parking, or maybe like a parking meter, but not just like sort of.
You drive a bit of a distance away, and you do find a place you could park the car. So there are like a couple of like cars parked like at the side of the street, like at the side of the pavement. No, wait. But yeah, like next to the. God dang it! I'm forgetting words like crazy today. But yeah, you can easily park the car there. Park the car like it maybe takes you like maybe 5 minutes or so to reach back into the same street.
So in that case, I'd park the car, turn to Leslie, and go, "What would you suggest our strategy be?" Because he's the
That's Leslie and Lisa. That is for them to decide. Haha. I shall not divulge any information on how you shall tackle this.
You FBI man.
Have the police talked to him already?
Aggie, Miss Underwood said no, but they are staking out his place, and she did recommend that, like, if you didn't want to basically garner too much like because of like the ruckus that Jean made. If I remember correctly, she said that they were staking out his place, and the police had like plans to either talk to him or like interrogate him a bit, and she did recommend that you would not approach him, at least not without being certain like that you could, because again the police should be staking out the place.
In that
All right.
case,
And they have jurisdiction over it, so.
well, being a police officer, do I recognize any of the cars I've seen around as we were driving as either undercover cars or police cars?
Oh, that's a good question. Roll for me, no. No, roll for me idea, I mean.
Okie dokie doke.
Because it doesn't necessarily mean that the cars are from the same precinct.
Whoa!
None of the cars you saw, you recognized. But that doesn't mean that they aren't there. But you do think, though, that like the cars that they are using to stake out the place might be either in personal cars that they use with the job, and not a car that is specifically like they commissioned specifically from the station. It could also, and you also figured that they could also be staking out in a house there somewhere. That could have been like for sale, but or like gotten permission from like the owners. It would be it would not be very easy for you to like to basically confirm that the place is being like watched by the police, because if they are, they're probably doing it pretty secretively.
All right.
Sorry. You were gonna say something?
Well, it's a Friday afternoon. Shouldn't he be at work?
You don't at least see his car there. Not at his house, at least.
Wait, didn't Miss Underwood write on the back of the card she gave me where he worked?
Yes, she wrote like where she worked, and like where he lived and stuff like that.
All right, then probably our next best bet is well. First, let's find a phone booth and call the house, to see if there is indeed anyone there.
The wife would well, depending if she's like a stay-at-home type, the wife would probably be there. But the Aggie warned us that the wife was most likely not aware of the affair, and or the husband warned her that his wife was not aware of the affair. So we might be like it risky.
I see what you mean, but I don't like the fact that we have to cover up for somebody else's infidelity.
Well, I don't like it either, but the fact is, if we screw up his life, then any information that he might have that he would be important, he probably will be less willing to tell us.
No, you're right.
So we could call his house and just like pretend to be telemarketers or something. But there's like the risk of actually you would be the better, because I'm a woman, you would be the better one to call and say, are you looking to change your insurance provider?
Yeah.
You need life insurance.
What would I be selling?
Vacuum cleaners.
Vacuum cleaners.
What do we have in the car? What weird thing does my dad just randomly have in the car? Can I roll like?
Tell me
can I
what.
roll an
Tell me
idea
what
roll
random.
or something random in the
Tell me
trunk?
what random thing you want to be in the car, and we'll roll a luck roll for it. A ruck roll.
Okay.
Knives, door-to-door knives.
No, well, why would he have knives in the first place? Like, I'm trying to think of some, like, exercise or gym type thing that would just be in the car that is not a bag of sweaty socks.
Like dumbbells, something like that. His own bowling ball.
Oh, a bowling ball, that's perfect! Let's luck roll for a bowling ball or or a set of pins or something. How do I roll luck?
It
1D100?
should be 35% for you. Because you did not have the greatest.
My luck is 40.
Your luck is 40? Okay. So it's better than I thought.
No. There's nothing in the car. The car is an empty space.
There's nothing in the car that you find.
Okay.
So
What do I
can
have
I-
on me?
I'm gonna
What do
say
you have on you?
I have a pen light, a pistol, a pair of climbing gloves, and a medical kit on me, as well as my journal.
Watch. You can pretend to sell pocket watches.
Oh, I have a
Oh,
perfect
one moment.
idea.
What's that?
one moment. Be right back.
I was doing so good in my rolls.
I have a perfect idea.
What is your idea?
So we're both in semi-jogging gear, right? We're gonna
Yeah.
fake an injury.
Am I gonna pull a
hurt
hamstring?
Yeah, and say, can I just come in for some water and some ice?
Sorry, I had to run a bit because I thought someone was calling me, but apparently I was wrong.
We were just talking about faking a jogging injury. What is your God? What would that even be? Would that be conceal, or sneak, or
Doing what
deception.
specifically?
disguise?
Doing what specifically? Because I missed what you were doing.
Injury.
Faking an injury. You would have to fast talk your way out of it, because it is basically a very it's a lie that they could discover very quickly.
How? Oh,
What's your fast talk?
Could you use medicine? Or like...
wait. So I have medicine. Can I Can I hurt myself, like, intentionally?
Can you make it look convincing?
Like, can I, like, run through, like, a bramble bush and just say,
I have
oh,
a
I need a
switchblade.
Band-Aid? Or, like,
I have a
trip on
switchblade. I
some
could,
asphalt?
I could give you like a small cut somewhere.
Right.
I just want to be a fly on the wall for this conversation. Alright, what are we going to sell them? What's in the car? Okay, let's get hurt.
This
I
is
still
fucking
have the
glorious.
pocket watch.
So, my plan is that I stab you and we act like you're hurt.
And you act like you're hurt.
Yeah, you act like you're hurt. Oh, I have been stabbed. Woe be me.
No, that wouldn't work. Damn it! If I was wearing high heels, it would have been perfect. I could have just pretended to break a heel.
Do you have like ketchup packets in the car?
Oh my god.
We could roll luck for that, but I doubt it.
Hey, she does go to a taco truck. Maybe she's got some taco sauce packets.
What? Just hot sauce?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the
And then it starts
landscape.
burning my skin from the capsaicin.
So, what did you say? You were going to do what?
I'm going to intentionally hurt myself.
Oh,
You sure you want to
Not
do that
like-
and not
not
go for like
pretend
selling
or
pocket
myself.
watches?
that is great.
Bigger.
Okay.
So
I hand you my switchblade. I fish it out of my bra and hand it to you.
Yeah, that's not the kind of injury I'm looking for, but thanks. I don't want to pretend, because then we'd have to fast talk that I was stabbed, and the guy got away, but he didn't take my wallet. So we're going to go for a run. And
We give
I'm
you
going
like a
to
little
fall.
slit on the edge of the arm or something. You could say that you fell into a bush and got scratched.
Is there any sort of bramble bush where I could actually get scratched?
Not
Because the
like
pattern of...
not there really. It's not.
All right,
whole-
then that's not going to be realistic.
I'm just
gonna have
waiting
to
on-
take a digger.
I'm just like, if Gene was there, I'm just like, I would have expected him just to say, "Oh, get on with it," and he'd just take the knife and stab someone
I have an idea.
and just
I have an
get
idea.
it over with.
What if we try to use some of the drier like dirt and dust around to make it look like you have not like a black eye, but maybe like you fell and hit your chin or something? Like you tripped on and you just want some ice for your chin, or you could even do a pratfall outside of her house.
Yeah, so why don't we go for a run and then you trip me, like right outside of the house?
You can also roll idea, and I can give you an idea.
All
Idea.
right.
Both roll idea.
Both rolling idea.
What's my idea?
75.
So,
Not me.
no, Lisa. Yes,
I
Gene.
have the best idea.
The worst thing is though that you do not
Idea,
increase your
you
idea.
Open the door, and she just lets you in and starts making you dinner.
So okay, the simplest thing to do to get her to just help you out would probably be getting for either Lisa or Leslie, either one of you would basically to sock the other one in the face, just punching them to give them a black eye, and act as if you were assaulted by someone.
I feel really stupid, and I just got a really good idea.
I actually did as well. Let's hear your idea first.
Instead of it's not like in the cul-de-sac, as long as her house is like on the street. Instead of hurting ourselves, why don't we just fucking slit one of our tires? Just like punch the knife in, pretend we rolled over a nail, and stop in front of her house.
Oh, yeah, we'll totally do that. My idea was to pretend I needed to pee. So we're gonna do that instead.
Oh yeah.
Why did it take so long to come up with a flat tire?
That was a very long time that it took. I was just rolling with the idea that all of you were thinking about hurting each other. And I was so entertained by it. I was waiting for one of you just to stab the other. Because that would have been great.
Look, from where we're not that far away, right?
Because like the overreaction that would have happened if you would have stabbed each other is like she would have freaking called like an ambulance. But
Yeah,
getting punched in the eye, she might have like handed you some ice and shit to cool it off.
Like, say we went to like your house is the only house that before you should God, we don't even know if she's home, right?
No, you don't at the moment at least.
So we could do this and then have to call a tow truck anyways. So risk anyway, but we could totally just find like something sharp in the car, knife, roll up in front of her house, knock on her door, and say she's the only person the only door we knocked on who opened up. Can we use your phone to call a tow truck?
Could you just like let a little bit of air out of your tire? You don't actually have to slash it. You could just like unscrew the thing and let a little bit of air out.
But Slash? Oh, well, yeah, you're probably right. It's less fun, but okay.
And then when you try to take some air out of the tire, it just pops.
Yeah, in my hands, and breaks 4 of my fingers.
Oh no, my hand! So, you have planned on what you want to do then?
Yeah.
So, you're going to enact this plan now. So you start to, I'm going to guess that you're going to let off, air off the tire before you start driving, so that you just
what I'm gonna do instead of letting a little air off, I'm just gonna sort of pop it open. By the time we get there, it'll be flat, but we won't be, driving on a flat tire, so it seems a little bit more believable.
Ah. So, yeah, you just take it off and you just drive for a while until, you obviously feel that the tire is getting, flat. And that, around that time, you kind of roll in front of the house. Which says Manly on the letterbox. On the post box. Because we don't have those here.
I would look at Leslie and say, who wants to call the tow truck and who wants to, see, someone could try to snoop. Someone could try to snoop, but someone also has to distract her.
Alright, my spot hidden's crap, so why don't you sneak and I will talk her up. So you call and then you look around, I will talk.
Okay, my hide is crap, but my spot hidden is, very decent. Pretty good. So, I probably have the better chance between us. As long as she doesn't, hang out in front of the phone.
Right.
If you can, try to distract her out of the room where the phone is, I will do it as fast as I can, and then, start to poke around.
Right.
So...
Well, usually people have their phones in, the hallway. So I could just ask for a glass of water.
I usually associate them with, the kitchen, having one in the kitchen, But...
We'll see where it is.
Cross our fingers.
Alright, we walk up, knock, knock on the door.
And of course I'm gonna let you do the talking.
And in a moment, the door swings open, and you see a man standing there.
Hi!
Can I help you?
I am so sorry. We have a flat tire. We just need to call a tow truck. If you wouldn't mind letting us in, please.
Sure. He opens the door, and the phone's just past the corner there to the right. Just first thing you see.
Thank you. What's your name?
Robert Manley.
Oh, nice to meet you. Thanks. I'm Leslie, and this is my sister, Lisa.
Nice to meet you.
Roll fast talk.
No!
Do you look anything alike?
I mean, you did discuss this quite a bit ahead of time, so I'm going to give you a bit of an assistance. And since Lisa is there with you to kind of back up your claim, you also get an assistance from her, so you get a 20%. So
do I have to roll fast?
No, you don't
talk?
need to. One of you can roll fast talk. No, Leslie needs to roll fast talk, and Leslie is getting a +20 to it because you are backing up.
Yeah, I still fail.
Oh. Now
I have a 5 in fast talk.
Right.
I have a 10.
He doesn't say anything, but he kind of eyes you, and I'm going to roll stuff for him. Oh, nice. Good times are being had.
Oh God. This is when the SWAT team busts in and arrests him.
Nothing really. He doesn't say anything, but he just kind of nods and like, nice to meet you. Now, the phone's just up there, and he points like towards the corner.
I like go for the phone, and I would imagine that I have like a list of useful numbers in my notepad because it's a police notebook.
Mm-hmm.
I would have like the operator to things.
I mean, it's
so I would imagine even if I don't have like a tow truck company's number there, that I would be able to call the operator and
yeah, you could easily call the operator and request to get to be connected with a local towing company.
So I just literally do that. I'm just paying for this out of my own pocket to get a lead.
Yeah. So while she is doing that, what are you doing, Leslie?
I was gonna ask you. I would like to roll, to see what I need to say to make him more comfortable. Would that be idea or psychoanalysis or psychology?
So I'm going to say that it's psychology because you don't have a whole lot to go on, and you kind of want to start by like assessing what kind of person he is, and then I'll allow, depending on how you roll on that, I'll allow you to get an idea roll.
Okay, so that's definitely a success.
Yeah. So he seems to be a. He seems to be somewhat of a, just by looking around, like just kind of glancing around. You think that he has some sorts of military history, but you don't know what it is. And he seems to be somewhat nervous with you guys in there. He's just kind of nervous at the moment because there are two people he doesn't know there. So you can roll an idea roll.
All right, I have an idea if this idea doesn't work out. Yeah, I get an idea.
Okay, so what you kind of figure that if you just try to make a little bit of like small talk with him, just chat and like not about anything specific, just kind of get a like a very calm conversation, just like chatting just about like nothing of great importance basically, would probably make him feel somewhat more comfortable around you because you kind of feel that the whole thing like that he kind of gives off the vibe that he didn't really like when you said that you guys were like siblings, he didn't seem to kind of buy it really, so kind of getting his mind off of that and kind of getting him to think that like to relax around you by just having a tiny discussion together.
So Leslie reaches up and massages where the wound in his chest is and says, old war wounds acting up. I bet that means it's going to rain. And he looks sideways at Rob and said, Did you serve during the war?
He kind of nods. Yeah. But I was discharged due to some health issues.
And I guess that this talk isn't him making him more comfortable.
No, it's not. It's not making him very uncomfortable. It's not making him uncomfortable, but it isn't really changing his demeanor. But you do think that he isn't going to be very like forthcoming with it.
All right, so I look around and say, nice place you got here. You have a wife keep it nice for you? Or are you the single man?
My wife helps me like mostly keeps it up. But she's at work now.
Oh, nice. Not a lot of men support their wives in going into the workforce. Glad to see that you're doing so. How long have you two been married?
For a few years. Give or take.
I'm sure you're very, very lucky, man. Is he at all warming up to the...
He seems to be a bit more relaxed, but not a whole lot. He isn't really he isn't tense at the moment, but he doesn't seem to be like immediately forthcoming about anything at the moment. He seems to be just having like his answers being pretty like pinpoint and.
While I'm on the phone, can I like look without looking too like suspicious or anything? Can I sort of look around the house to see like?
Yeah, I mean he's totally distracted. Or... He's totally distracted by Leslie, so you can look around. And
I'm still on the phone talking to someone. I imagine. However, can I just sort of?
I want you to roll spot hidden for me. I'm gonna tell you what you see what you see without the roll, and I want you to roll spot hidden to see whether or not you see something that kind of grabs your attention.
Come on! Eh? Oh, the dice. Yes!
Oh, you made it. Nice. So I'm gonna start with what you just see by looking around. So you see kind of into a dining room, and on the dining room there are like it seems to have like a couple of files on it and stuff like that. It seems like he was sitting there like when you rang the bell, knocked on the door. I mean, you don't see into the kitchen or anything like that, but you do though notice, like just looking around, that the place is pretty well kept, and let's see whether or not there's anything like very.
Does it look like they have any children? Like, are there any toys or pictures on the walls?
It does. There are not any like toys or anything like that in the area. There is a picture of him and his wife like on the counter, and some like family pictures on the wall, but nothing that really strikes any like specific interest.
Okay, does it look like the house has been cleaned? Like, does it look like someone regularly cleans the house, or does it sort of look unkempt? Does it look like a busy person's house, or a, It
looks like it's regularly cleaned. Just like it's not messy. Not messy. But you do notice though that like on the table where the like files and stuff is, like there is a watch there lying, and a cup of coffee, and it seems like he was working with either reading some file stuff or just like writing something into the files. But you don't know what kind of files they are. But with your spot hidden, they do have a basically a hospital like thing on it, like a but you can't tell what kind of what hospital and it is.
Do I remember what job he has, like what his employment is?
No, because nobody has discussed it.
I was gonna ask. Well, that was gonna be my next line of questioning.
The reporter, didn't she give us his job information?
She gave you a job address, but not much more than that.
Bleh. Okay.
But you didn't.
I'm just continuing the phone call.
And yeah, you didn't ask like where he works and stuff like that. But yes, Leslie, you can continue asking him things.
Yeah. So I turn to him and say, "So where you work?"
Currently not working at the moment.
like vacation or disability? Are you all right?
Well,
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. Can I roll another idea to see what might warm him up?
Maybe we will come to that again after we've talked to Richard and Jean.
Yay!
Now, you were heading. There was a stare down happening in front of the phone in the motel. There was some drama building up. The tensions were high in the air, and Jean was giving Richard an evil stare of sorts. Yeah, we do need an applause button. So there's some high tension in the air since they are having a pretty big disagreement here.
Well,
Gene is the FBI again.
Yeah, Gene is starting to call the operator again as you're staring at him, and he's staring in straight back into your eyes. So what do you want to do, Richard?
Is it a rotary phone?
Yeah, it's a rotary phone.
Yeah,
you
so
can
all
hear
you
just
hear
a.
is the clicking.
That's the only sound in the room now. It's so quiet.
well, I'm gonna base my next reaction based off of what my role was. It wasn't even a single success, just outright a fail, not a crit, but based on that, Richard's mind goes this way. Internally, he thinks you clearly don't always make the right decisions. Let him have this. And so, physically, Richard sort of reaches down and kind of towards his right thigh where he was shot. And, or no, I believe it's his left. Either way, he just kind of grips it, and then he kind of slumps, and he turns away. And he just goes back to looking at the files, and just lets Gene have the call.
And in a few moments, you hear, "Operator."
I asked him to patch me through to the FBI.
Certainly. What branch?
DC branch.
One moment, sir. And the phone starts to ring again, and it doesn't take it long until you hear until the phone is answered, and you hear that there is basically what is basically the receptionist, and answers and goes, Federal Bureau of Investigation.
I asked to be patched through to the assistant director, and I give his name. I don't remember. Who
It was Nicholas Richardson, and he goes, certainly. What is your business?
Official FBI business.
You can say you're an employee.
Can you give me your badge name? Badge number?
Sure, and I rattle off my badge number.
One moment, sir. And she puts the phone, and you can hear the phone being put down, and the phone call is being redirected one more time. And it rings for quite a while until finally the phone's picked up, and the familiar voice of Nicholas Richardson enters your assistant director, Richardson.
Hey Nick, it's Gene.
Gene. How goes the case?
Depends. Which case did you send me here on?
It was a murder case that they requested assistance on.
Are you sure it wasn't a corruption case?
I did tell you to watch out, that we had been getting some information on that they might be somewhat corrupted.
So look, I have in front of me a file that's obviously incomplete from some people that we've talked to, and now I'm finding files are being edited before they get to us. I found the coroner's report's been tampered with. What did you really send us here for? Is this really for the murder, or you want us here to bag these corrupt?
We have had a man in internal affairs investigating them currently, but I didn't think that they'd take any blatant actions towards you. Towards you. Now, I did send you to assist on the murder case. That is what you were officially assigned to do. Now, how many misleading or how much information or misleading information has the police given you up until now?
So unfortunately, I can't really codify all of it, as I'm not really sure what I'm missing. But from talking to the reporter that was the first on the scene, she told us that she gave all of her photos to the cops. They said they gave us everything. We haven't seen any of those pictures that the cops have provided and what the cops have provided us. Talking to Mr. Barden here was talking around, and it sounds like there was definitely some action of a car that was in the area that morning that we've heard nothing about. And the coroner's report that I just received has obviously been tampered with. I mean, you sent me out here. You know my background in forgeries, and this one was good, but it's not the best I've ever seen. I'm also worried that they're destroying evidence. The pictures we got from the reporter, it definitely looks like the area has been trampled since those pictures were taken. I don't know if it was deliberate or not, but with everything else I'm seeing for now, I'm not so sure. And it looks like they got a tail on us. I don't know why, but there was a beat cop in the area this morning that was definitely following us around.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised that they attempted to have keep some sorts of tabs on you. They weren't too fond about the FBI being assisting them on the case. It wasn't really their call. It was the city. It was the mayor that especially requested the assistance, our assistance here. They didn't really trust the police to do a to properly solve the case.
Okay, but if you want us to actually handle this and find the dirtbag that killed this girl, I need to know what the cops know. I need you to give me the resources to be able to get that information out of them. And if that means you're giving me the authorization to lock up that chief, I will.
Now, I'm not sure we should act too brashly. We will, if we attempt to act now, especially since we are not in jurisdictions at the moment. We have no real say in this case. We were more requested as advisors, if that is the proper term we want to go with. But I do want you to keep an eye out on the chief. I'll talk to internal affairs to see how things are going there. But I don't want you to act too brashly. And if you can, from what I hear, he's obviously got his eye set on not helping you as much as he can. It's gonna cause any problems, but I want you to keep an eye out on this. And if anything more happens, contact me again.
What do you want me to do with the police chickie that's following me around?
How has she been? Has she been any trouble?
She hasn't been yet. It definitely looks like she doesn't know, or she hasn't been made aware of what's in the real file, or I don't think she's involved in the corruption necessarily. But I don't like the idea of having a tail sitting in my back pocket either.
Continue having her around. It will be a sign of good faith, and also it will in case she is, in case she is tailing you, it is better to have someone that you do have, that you know, and just keep an eye out. And be careful.
All right, fair enough. You want me to inform the mayor, right? If we're here as a favor, he should know what we're doing or not doing.
If you have time, you can drop by and tell him that you're on the case. He has already been informed that you are there, so there should not be any specific reason. You don't need to specifically go there. He felt a lot more reassured that knowing that they had extra help on the case. But I do want you to, as I said, I do want you to keep an eye out on the police chief, and if he does anything that you deem to be, well, not obviously hindering or damaging towards the case itself, I want you to let me know, and I will see if I can't get the go-ahead from Internal Affairs. However, if he is only slightly hindering you by not giving you information, I mean, it's going to cause problems, but there's nothing that... there is really nothing we can do about that, since this is their jurisdiction.
I'll reiterate, I don't know how much damage they're causing. I don't know what they haven't provided us.
Yeah.
For all I know, they could be somewhat involved or covering up for someone else.
The more you tell me, the more the less I'm starting to trust the local authorities there. So, if you can, I'd prefer that you get that you guys try to solve this and use the police as much as you can. But from what you're telling me, I wouldn't. You shouldn't rely on them. They probably don't want our assistance, which is why they are tampering with the evidence that they're giving to you.
Okay.
It's been a problem in the LA area for a while. It seems like they're a bit too proud.
You're the boss, boss.
All right, keep me posted.
Well,
And he hangs up. And as he hangs up, you kind of lower the phone and put it back onto the rotophone, and you can and you look towards Barden, who is still just reading the file. Was probably been listening to your conversation with the assistant director pretty carefully.
what do you think, kid?
Well, I'd like to talk to the coroner. That's the next major thing on my mind. Any real response to the situation with the cops? It is what it is on that end.
You can drop in on the mayor later. Definitely want to give him an update on where his case is gone.
Understandable. And I look
He's
at...
got sort of like a half smile, half snarl as he says it.
It's kind of like every sentence, like when you finish the sentence, the cat in the background was like meowing, so it's like you ended all of your sentence by meowing.
Sorry. He's aggravated.
Yes, I am.
I look at my watch. What time is it?
I'm going to say that, like, with all this stuff that's going, it's maybe been a half an hour since you arrived at the motel. So it's probably like just past 2:30 p.m.
Well, let's see. Coroner, I'd like to have with a fresh mind. What do you think about all of us doing that at once, but not today? Maybe tomorrow.
Sure.
Because this is later in the afternoon, and who knows if he takes... It's a Friday. He could... It is Friday, right?
Yes, it should be a Friday. I have the date written down.
I remember we looked that up. I'm just making sure.
Yeah, it should be a Friday. I remember looking it up.
Well, if anything, we can check to see if he's still there today, because who knows if he'll be gone the whole weekend or not. So maybe Monday before we can talk to him. What do you think?
Well, we can at least drop in and set up an appointment. If we can meet with them now, we'll meet with them now. It looks like we still got a few hours to kill before the other two show back up.
All right. And maybe he'll give us some insight of something he didn't report. Maybe something that popped into his mind after he filled this out. Maybe something that was itching at the back of his head.
Or we can bring the report we have with us and make sure that it matches what he gave to the cops.
Oh, no, I certainly agree with that. We want to make sure it matches. But, hey, maybe not everyone's bad in this town, Gene.
They're all crooked. Just depends on how far off straight they are.
Agree to disagree on that one, my friend. Alright, let's get around.
So you can, it's not very far, but it would be quicker for you to take a taxi, but you could walk there. It doesn't take too long.
We'll take a taxi just for Gene's benefit. He's already tired.
Alright.
So
as you start calling for a taxi,
and I'm taking the opportunity to find coffee.
So as you're calling, as Barden starts to call for a taxi, and Gene kind of starts to pour himself some coffee, the camera switches, the scene switches back towards Leslie, who is having a conversation with good old Robert Manley.
Yes, I was gonna roll an idea.
Yes, you were. You were gonna roll an idea on how you can soothe this man's soul.
Rock and roll?
Nothing does it better than rock and roll.
I have a very, very good idea.
Again.
Sadly, this is not skill roll, so you don't get increases on this. Now, if you do think that he's still probably not going to be very forthcoming about a whole lot of things, mostly because you guys are strangers, and he doesn't feel like he's open up to a very much to a whole lot of conversation, but you might but you think that if you kind of like sneak in questions of importance while talking to him about as you've been doing, like about some mundane things, you might be able to get some information. Or but one thing you could also do is basically one idea would also to be basically because you're inside the house, you could close the door and also reveal yourself as a as a FBI officer and agent and interrogate him. It would be a much more straightforward way, and you don't know how effective it would be. It might be very effective. It might not be very effective, but either way, you would get you'd probably get more leverage if you actually reveal yourself as an officer.
All right. So
you would not have to sneak around the subject, basically.
So I sigh and run my hand over my face, said, "You heard anything about police corruption in the area?"
He kind of gives you a side eye and just goes, well, they've been, nobody here really likes the, most of the people don't really like the LAPD.
Man, all cops are crooked, Shane.
See, they don't bring anything else but trouble, you see?
Shane?
But, most of the some of the beat cops and officers are a bit Don't walk a straight line as many as you would say. Kind of are
Really, because I think.
open to bribery is what the rumors say.
See, I think it might be a bit more than that. And I close the door with my foot, and I pull out my FBI badge.
As you're closing the door, you see him. Obviously, he becomes somewhat nervous, and when he sees the badge, he kind of like he's not shaking, but he's obviously somewhat distressed because there's suddenly an FBI agent in his room, in his house, and he doesn't know why.
I try and reassure him and go, listen, I don't care what you were doing with Miss Small. Really doesn't matter to me.
Miss Small? It's Miss Short.
Short. Sorry, I meant short. All I need is the facts. Because the facts we're getting from the police aren't adding up.
Could you repeat that? Because there was a whole lot of like added sound, and I didn't hear everything you said.
Sorry, I said that all I wanted was the facts, because the facts that we're getting from the police aren't adding up. And we'll be out of your hair just as soon as you like. But I do need these answers, please. We're trying to get justice.
Like as you say, he kind of gives you a strange look and says, what do you mean?
What do you mean? What do I mean?
I haven't talked to the police about anything really.
Yeah, I know. That's why I wanted to talk to you first. Because we just talked to Miss Underwood about the photos that she gave the police. The photos she gave the police were not the photos that the police gave to us, even though the mayor asked us to look in on this investigation.
I want you to roll for me something.
Psychoanalysis?
I want you to roll psychoanalysis.
Is that an extreme? Nah, it's just in a hard.
Extreme would be a 16.
He is. When you say that, he seems to be somewhat confused, and he isn't really. It's kind of a moment where he's like looking at you, and it's as if he doesn't really know what you're talking about. But he goes and says, "Look, like I know nothing more than what I just read in the paper today." And
When was the last time you saw the discs?
last time I saw Miss Short?
Yes.
It was January 9th, I think.
Would you describe yourself as close with her?
No. Why are you asking?
Oh, if you didn't describe yourself as closely connected, I wonder why Miss Underwood would be interested in interviewing you.
She was going to interview me?
That's what she said. She was the one who gave us this address.
Well, I haven't talked to any Miss Underwood, at least.
All right. So, is he being straight with me?
I mean, I want you. I want you to roll psychoanalysis again, because you're trying to detect like if he's lying to you now or not. He seems to be
It's
straight.
just-
He doesn't seem to be lying to you.
Was Underwood lying to us?
She
who knows?
wouldn't.
His
Manly?
his posture at least doesn't
I
seem to
said,
be.
you are Robert Manley, are you not?
Yes, I am Robert Manley.
Is there any Robert Manley the second or first? Senior.
Third.
No? Well, he wouldn't answer that because you're on the phone and you're talking to a towing company. Unless you're just finished and are walking into the conversation at this time.
That was meta.
Okay.
Well, I can be done if I'm allowed to be done. I'm just sort of waiting for, like...
Yeah, you
like,
can be
what's
done
a
now.
reasonable amount of time
Like,
to make a phone call?
It wouldn't take that long, so yeah, you can be done.
Okay, if I'm done, then I kind of want to, like, am I still in line of sight of them?
Yeah, you could have easily seen Leslie pull out the badge.
Damn it, that's not, I was hoping there'd be, like, a doorway between...
You don't
like,
need to
can
have seen it. It's up to you whether or not you saw it. But
well, no,
like,
I want to, like, sneak towards the files, but if I'm still in line of sight, then I probably can't.
the thing is, like, the phone is just beyond the corner, and you could just like walk at the other side of the corner and talk there, and they wouldn't see you. So
Can
and
I
could
try to do that? Do I need to roll
you don't
something
need to
like...
don't need to roll anything to be there, but you could sneak to the back of the room because you would be obviously seen if you're like at the dining room table, because Leslie can see the dining room table. There is a like counter and stuff in front of, so so Leslie can't see the files and stuff like that. But you could easily basically sneak behind there. It's just a question of whether or not you would make any like sound and stuff. Whether or not you would make any sounds that would draw any attention to you. And the thing is, like, you could easily.
If I'm done with the phone call,
you could easily basically hide away and they would not see you getting to the table, but as soon as you get like to the table where the files are, you would be visible to them.
well, I don't want to screw up her like line of Leslie's like.
Yeah, you could
line
just
of
peek around the
questioning,
corner
but at
and you
the
see
same
that.
time,
Like if you
it's
want to
very
check.
fishy.
Yeah, at the time, like you can peek around the corner to see basically the process, how Leslie's doing basically.
Okay, in that case, if I'm done with the phone call, I want to get, like, as close as I can without, like, I want to look at those papers.
Okay.
Wait. From
I
here,
want
from where I am.
I want you to roll sneak for me, because you could, because you would basically move around the, around the counter and stuff, out of view, but it's whether or not you will make any sounds as you move.
Well, from where I am, does it look like a newspaper or like actual, like, important shit?
It looks like files, specifically. It looks
Okay.
like files, and there is a symbol, some sorts of medical symbol on it.
In that case, I'd rather not, because if it's just, like, his own medical shit, and or something for his wife, I don't want to sabotage the sort of getting information out of interrogating him for... just, like, because he said he got out of the war through an injury, right?
Yeah.
And he probably wouldn't have just anything from Elizabeth Short, you know, just hanging out on his dining room table.
He specifically said that he was discharged due to medical reasons.
So what I want to do is hang up the phone, and can I, like, can I give some sort of bonus to her, to Leslie's sort of interrogation by saying, can I say that will not terrify him into shutting the fuck up? How about, like, in this gruesome murder, police are concerned you are a prime suspect. And we are just trying to go... We do not think that you have much stock in this murder. We don't think that you look to be someone of such such inclinations. Please tell us anything, any reason.
You have a limited knowledge of what Leslie was talking about because you were on the phone most of the time, but
yeah, but this is just like.
But you
opinion
can.
Is that I think they're gonna think he's the prime suspect.
Yeah. I mean
So
that is also what you get like from the police records that you have. They also think that he is a prime suspect, according to what
so
you
I would just
have. Or what have you been told?
From the way the investigation looks, it looks like they are targeting you as a prime suspect. We do not believe that you seem to be the type, the sort that would do something this gruesome, and we just want, as we would like to make sure that the police do not arrest the wrong person, just to close a case. So.
I would think that you would be basically trying to persuade him to be forthcoming. So I would allow you to do a persuasion check because.
Oh God, I'm gonna fail. Let's try.
Let's try to persuade as Lisa does her best.
Let's talk. No, actually, no, it's not. It's exactly. I'm still gonna fail. Okay.
What did you roll?
I'm doing it. It's a fail.
86.
I had to get under 15, so.
So basically, you as you walk down the hall, you and say that he becomes you just kind of feel like he becomes somewhat more distressed. But you're not sure why he's becoming more distressed.
I did bad cop. You do good cop.
But Leslie, Lisa, like when she was talking, saying this, you think that probably due to her somewhat antisocial nature, she sounded a bit more intimidating than she probably intended to.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I actually have a negative perk because of that. Anything I do has a negative aspect.
She looks a bit as if she's frowning and somewhat like she's somewhat annoyed, and her voice sounds a bit intimidating.
My comfort and suspect thing has a -5 because of my natural intimidation.
Yep.
Can I roll a persuade to calm him down? Because I just want I was gonna say my friend is a little aggressive, but what she has to say is perfectly true. The cops do think that you're a prime suspect. They do believe that you were having an affair with the deceased. We just want to know everything you know. Because, honestly, as you know, the cops are corrupt. They
interject and say, we believe you are innocent.
I am personally afraid that rather than seeking the true killer, the cops are just going to blame any person that they can either gather or fake enough evidence on. I don't want that to happen to you. And the best way to help that not happen to you is to give me every piece of information you know about the deceased.
So I want you to roll persuade for me.
I can do that.
And I'm going. Well, you critted it, so I was about to give you a penalty because of the failure that your friend Lisa did, but that doesn't matter because you critted it. He seems to
succeeded despite me.
Yeah. He seems to relax a bit and goes, okay. Okay. I was just a bit kind of taken aback by the sudden appearance of FBI officers in my house. Wasn't really sure what was going on, but I had nothing to do with any murder. I met Miss Short on around then, during I met her on January 9th, I think it was, and like we spent the evening together, but I dropped her off at the Biltmore Hotel, like that evening. So that's the last I saw of her.
Was that the only time you had contact with her?
Yeah. I didn't have regular contact with her. I met her maybe one or two times before that, but that was like the only real contact I had with her.
All right, and do you have a alibi? Do you have an alibi for the night of the murder?
I mean, it would have been Miss Short, but my wife knew that I was out. I was staying at it was at a motel. Let's see. I cannot find a random motel and just
Okay, I would ask, were you registered under your own name, under Miss Short's name, or under a false name?
under my name.
What was that false name?
It was under my name.
Hey.
It was called the Farmer's Daughter. The motel I was at.
In that case, we might be able to give him an alibi.
I'm gonna say that it's like just outside. This is an actual place, but I'm gonna say it's like somewhat close to the central area, like a bit outside of it. It's more it's in Hollywood, in the Hollywood area.
All right, sir, is there anything else that you can think of? Did she talk about having any enemies? Was she afraid? Did you see anything suspicious?
No, not that I can remember. I only spent the evening with her, and then I dropped her off and left.
Where did he drop her off?
The Biltmore Hotel was where he left her off.
And I would pull out, or have Leslie pull out, the number of the reporter, and ask him, does he recognize his phone number? And if he does not, this is the number of the woman who said she was giving an interview with you. You might want to make sure that someone is not to tarnish your name.
He kind of shakes his head and just, I don't recognize that number.
In that case, metagame again. Possible that either the cops or someone else are trying to get him framed for this by providing information that either the killer would only know, just to confuse the case by pretending to be him.
He basically at least at this moment he's not relaxed. He's a bit tense, but he seems to be at least more comfortable with sharing information with you, and he is from like your psychoanalysis earlier, it doesn't seem like he is lying. He seems to be genuine, at least from like
what time
if he's lying, you would not be able to, like, if he's lying, you aren't able to tell.
What time did the reporter say that the interview with Manley was?
He's like somewhere around the 20th of January.
So not and today's like the 16th or something.
17th.
17th. In that case, what I'm gonna do is immediately go to the other room and call the reporter.
Okay. And
Find your inner dream.
as Zia rushes towards the phone, we cut back towards Jean and Richard as they arrive at the local hospital. At local county hospital.
All right, I guess anything. Just run this normal. Gene, go in, make it known we're FBI.
I would say just go and ask for the coroner, and then only if they ask why we're asking, we'll show the badge. That might just get us in a little easier. We will identify ourselves when we meet with the coroner. But I don't need a flashing red light above my head to get to him.
Oh no, absolutely. All right, we'll go to the front desk and ask if the coroner's in.
What time is it again?
It's probably around like 3 o'clock when you're arriving there. But you as you walk into the hospital and walk to the reception desk, the lady sitting there kind of like looks up. Can I help you? There's a lot of people waiting in the waiting area, but you walk basically directly there.
Yes, Richard Barden. Here to see if the coroner's in.
What's the name of?
Oh,
Newber.
yeah, Newbar. Frederick Newbar. Dr. Newbar.
She kind of looks down and goes, yeah, it does seem that he's still in. He's still down in the morgue. He's probably still working on some autopsies on behalf of the police. You are, by the way, at the I don't know what the name of it is, but this is the Los Angeles County General is the name of this hospital.
Thank you.
Okay. Directions to the morgue.
Yes, you can take the. There should be a staircase down this hallway to the left, and it should be a marked door, and you just go down.
Thank you.
Did you? You did not. But before you before you go, she goes like, "What is your business with the doctor?"
In my head, damn.
it was like she almost forgot, but then she remembered. Oh wait.
I just simply, flash her a small grin. Good work, and I kind of pull out just badge, but slide it, on the desk where not really anyone else besides Jean and myself and her could see it.
She's like kind of like fixes herself in the seat and goes like, yeah, it's just down the hall. I will let the doctor know that you're on your way.
Thank you.
And she, as you leave, you see her pick up the phone and dial. And it doesn't take you very long to get down to the morgue. You walk down the hall for a while, and you pass a couple of like a medical station and a few rooms that some of them seem to hold some people. You do know, and you do note that at least one of the rooms seems to be is currently at least being used for a mental health patient. Is at least that is what, like, as you're walking past and just kind of glancing at the, you see that like it's kind of like the one of the rooms is like marked specifically to deal for a patient of with some mental health issues, and like a room after you get past that, you see a staircase that a door that leads to a staircase, which you take and which you open and go down, and it leads into a more area. There's like a hallway that you get into first, and there's a and you can see like there is glass there, and you can see into kind of the area where there is a doctor working, and there's like 2 areas, and then there is a area where they store the bodies, and you can see the doctor basically like immediately, and he is working at looking at some body at least. It does not seem to be Short's body, because this body is not cut in half.
Well, that's good to know.
Gene's very uncomfortable with the body.
It does seem though that that the body was shot with some kind of shotgun, because the
Gene
face
is
is
very,
missing.
very uncomfortable with the body.
So, Gene, since you are very uncomfortable with this body and you see this dead body, I want you to roll sanity.
That's our first sanity.
I'm
roll.
good.
Yes. Yay! This is the first sanity check ever in this campaign. The only reason why Barden is not rolling is because he is sadly used to bodies. Oh, how sad it is when people are used to seeing dead things.
So,
But, well, actually, you could be traumatized, so yes, please roll sanity for me.
yeah, I was about to say, even if you made him used to it, he was still going to react to it by, his hand will go where, towards his injury. Alright, so sanity. That is not such a good thing for me.
No, it is not. Oh,
No
you.
success.
So you failed, and I'm going to have to go, because there is a specific amount of sanity damage you take when you see dead people.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go to the chapter for sanity. Sanity and insanity. So, how do you feel about being the first one to fail your sanity check?
It was bound to happen, honestly. And if anyone was going to fail, it was going to be
So,
me.
I'm going to say that because you're not surprised to find a corpse, you kind of expected to find a corpse, but you were surprised by seeing a corpse with, the face shot off. I'm going to have it a D2 instead of a D3, because you weren't surprised to find the body. And you do not take any, since you made the check, my good friend. But Gene, my good friend. But Richard Barden takes a single point of sanity damage, which means that you are at 34.
Alright.
Which is funny, because I did not look at your character sheet to remember this. I just remembered it from the top of my head, because out of all the characters, your sanity sucks the most. But be glad you did not see. You did not see the Great Cthulhu.
So to put this in a little context for Gene, Gene grew up in a very traditional Orthodox Jewish household where like blood and death are things that are not okay. So even though he isn't really of the faith, he doesn't really follow it anymore, he still grew up with a visceral negative reaction to bodies and blood. So he immediately averted his eyes and didn't even enter the room. He's just like leaning against the outside wall, waiting for the coroner to come out.
Since Richard Barden is like standing next to you, you kind of look like, as you're looking to the side, you can see an obvious look of displeasure on Richard Barden. How do you feel at this moment, Richard?
Basically, his eyes have widened and he's just sitting there staring. You could maybe a little bit of perspiration and increased breathing. Kind of panic attacky, I guess would be the way to do it. And his hand goes down to his leg, and he's just like that. And that's his reaction. Based on the amount, it wouldn't be anything more than just uncomfort to that level right then.
So, but yeah, Gene, you can obviously see the discomfort on Barden's face. He is somewhat taken aback by this.
So when we came down, did it look like putting the body he was working on away, like he had gotten a call and was waiting for us?
He probably got the call and he's already answered the phone and all that, and he was probably just waiting for you guys at this point. And
okay.
Just as he was waiting, he was just continuing his work.
The only reason I ask is at this point, Gene's paranoia when he came down and saw the doctor just working on the body, that she called someone else that wasn't the coroner. But
yeah, it doesn't take long until he kind of because he's expecting you. He kind of he's talking and writing into a file. Then he kind of looks up and he sees you and goes He kind of lifts his head and walks starts to head out of the room, and he's taking off his gloves as he does and moves down the mask from his face. And as he approaches you. And because you guys didn't really enter into the hallway, you kind of Gene kind of backed into the stairway, and he kind of walks there and goes, "Heard that some FBI officers were coming to see me. Didn't expect you guys to be bad with corpses. Do you want to talk at the stairwell or?" In my office?
In your office work for us.
So he kind of leads you a bit through through and past the morgue area, and there's a tiny office space there that he leads you into. And he takes a seat behind the counter, behind his desk, and take a seat, please. So I heard some FBI officers were looking to talk to me about something.
Yeah, any chance you can get us a copy of the report you sent over to the precinct earlier?
What report?
The coroner's report for the short case.
I believe, I sent it over, but what do you need it? Are you working on the case as well?
Yeah. Yes, we are working the case as well.
Couldn't you get a copy at the police station?
Yeah, unfortunately, I just wanted to cross-reference the report we have with the original report that was generated, just to make sure it was complete. Some things seemed out of place.
It's fine by me. He goes and there's a file cabinet in the room, and he opens it up and looks for a while and pulls out the file and sits back down and hands it over the table towards you, Gene.
Okay, so I'm going to do what I did earlier again. I'm going to pull out my copy of the file, and I'm just going to sort of talk through, say I looked through the file and it seemed like there were a few things that were out of place, and I'm going to flip through page by page and make sure both copies match. Do you want another forgery for that?
I would like you to roll another forgery, but you do know what part is obviously tampered with. But I want you to roll forgery to make sure that that hasn't been tampered with as well.
Okay.
It's basically just confirming that the stuff is legit.
And I'm also looking for anything else I might have missed on the first pass.
Mm-hmm.
Pages or sentences that might have been altered. Any kind of little things like that, and that's a hard success.
Sweet. So, you do. There's no other evidence of forging on this, and you do realize after going through it again, kind of at the areas where you knew there was only one place where there was an actual forgery of any importance, and that is where about the ligature marks on her ankles and wrists and stuff. And
So what does his copy say?
it says that the markings were made by these ligature marks were obviously from some sorts of item that he identified as probably some sorts of cable, some sorts of wiring cable, not rope. And in the report, he takes a guess that this is probably some sorts of power cable that has been was probably some sort of power cable, and a part of it says that at least that she was probably tied up with it, and they were probably and it was probably still connected to some sorts of low voltage item, which means that the body was being shocked. Filled with electricity, as one would say.
Does it say that there were burns found at the locations, the ligature marks? Then,
this wasn't that high voltage that it was would leave, but the area around the hands where where she was tied did show evidence of some burning.
okay. So I sort of nudge Richard in, and I sort of show him what was given to us versus what was in the proctor report.
Richard sort of, I kind of snap back. I've been sort of staring off into space, partially listening. Interesting. Doc, when did you file this report? What was the date on the...
It was yesterday around 3 p.m.
Have you, by any chance, has there been anything else that maybe since you filed that report you've maybe thought of, or maybe something that wasn't in the original notes that maybe you were going to refile that you'd like to report to us now?
The whole case was really interesting. The body was discarded in such a way that it was a pretty brutally discarded, and but all of the information that I specifically had to say about the case was written into the report. Now, what I find the most interesting is that she did not die due to the shocking, but she was probably being shocked. The low voltage was kept at such a low rate that it had significant caused her significant discomfort, but it wasn't enough to kill her, be the cause of death. But it did contribute to her death. What I believe is that because she was being kept in such a, this was probably done because the person doing this got some sorts of sexual pleasure out of it, most likely, and it was probably used as a torture method of some sorts. But that is mostly that's mostly speculation, and most of this should be in the report itself.
What does his body language say? Is he being fairly straightforward? Does he seem like he wants to say something else but is unsure?
Without rolling
psychoanalysis,
psychoanalysis, you would be unsure, but if you're just giving a glance look, you would think that he's being sincere.
by all means, I'll use either psychology or psychoanalysis, whichever one.
Psychoanalysis, please.
Alright. Always take a chance. Not enough.
He seems to be sincere, at least, from what you can tell. You honestly couldn't tell if he was lying. Is basically what you get from this.
Okay, I wasn't really going for line, just more like if he had something else to say. Like,
Yeah.
I believed him from the first part.
He at least doesn't seem to be concealing anything from what you think.
Okay.
Doesn't even seem to have any reason to do that. But that's just from like what you gather, like just by looking at him. You have no idea whether that information is valid or not.
No, right. Doc, you did say that there are signs of the body being raped. Would it have been before or after death by any chance? Would you be able to tell?
It would have been before her death.
Before. Your report says that there are no samples of sperm, so
No, we tested her body for the presence of sperm, but the results came negative.
Someone was very thorough in cleaning the body, if such. Okay.
Well, if she was raped, then yes, they were. If this was done as just as a torture mechanism, that then there's no surprise really.
Gene, anything else on your end?
Hey Doc, any chance that have you ever seen anything like this before? Maybe not necessarily the whole package put together, but parts of this kind of crime or this kind of murder. Have you seen something where someone's been strung up like this and shot or cut into pieces? Maybe not. Maybe this isn't their first rodeo, but they've done parts of this before. I would imagine that body would have passed through here as well, under your supervision.
Really, the only thing that seems to be somewhat have any similarities to anything any other cases would be the scar around the victim's mouth. It is officially it is called a Glasgow smile, and but it's not a common wound caused here. It is more common in the UK area. It is usual. It's what like gangs in the UK or Scotland use this, but this from the little medical research that has been made about this, it's usually not made with an effective weapon, effective knife of sorts. Usually just made with a tool at hand. From what I can gather, the smile on her was probably cut with some sorts of utility knife. Most likely, at least. But that, again, should have been included in the report itself.
And any idea what type of weapon was used, or what type of tool was used to cut her up and part her out?
The cut was pretty. It was a pretty clean cut. So the man that did this was obviously skilled at what he did. But let's see. He drained the body completely out of all of its blood, and it was skillfully cut. It's as if either the man, the likeliest way of having done this is with some sorts of surgical implications. The cut was really clean, or it could have possibly be done with a very with a very sharp blade of some sorts, and the cuts would have been made very slowly. It's really hard to say what kind of object would have done this. It's not normally, even using a very finely sharpened blade would leave some sorts of serration and stuff, but this looks to be just clean. Oh.
Doc, do you still have the body here?
Yes, it's in one of the mortuaries. It's in one of the more
How long
storage
you have
areas.
body for?
Should be here for at least for a while during the investigation, but I expect the body probably being maybe until Wednesday next week.
Okay, we have another member of our team that's more experienced in medical stuff. If you don't mind, we'd like to bring him back here, just see if he's got a little more experience in this kind of thing and gruesome murders. Maybe he can have a second pass on and see if he recognizes anything that you might have missed, or that wouldn't be immediately recognizable to your experience.
Yeah, go ahead and solve the corridor.
It should be. I can let you look at the body, but you will need to. You will need to bring a signed. You will need to bring a signed agreement, permission from the lead investigator on the case, or the chief of police.
Would a warrant from the...
Yeah, you would need to bring a warrant from the...
judge's office?
You could as well. You could also speak to the judge if you deem the police restricting towards your efforts. But he would need to take a... But that could cause also... But that doesn't mean that you would get the permission immediately. It really depends on how you approach this, really. But
oh no, of course, sir. I was just simply saying one of those options. Of course. Basically, in my head, I'm thinking, humming away.
Don't let yourself worry. We'll have the correct paperwork dealt with before we come back.
We'll get a set up an appointment.
At least, yes. Until you bring a warrant allowing you to look at the body, I can't allow you to look at it, since it is still officially a police case. Is there anything else you wish to speak about, or do you? I can set up an appointment if you want to meet me again anytime soon.
You just do me a favor before we take off. Can you run us off a copy of the report you have, or the report you showed us, just so we have a copy for our records? It's just an FBI protocol thing. I don't want to bother you too much with it.
I want you to roll persuade for me.
I'm actually going to roll fast talk for that one.
Okay, you can do that.
That would be a critical. That's an extreme.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
So, he basically, he kind of gives you, he kind of goes like a nod, like, yeah, that should not be too much of a problem. You already have a copy of it. Did you say something was missing from it?
Yeah, I just need to be. There was a page missing. I just need to keep both copies for my records, so that if people ask questions later, I have all the right documentation.
He walks.
And if you could just give us a sign, something that says that you provided it to us, in case the investigation goes somewhere else later, that'd just make our lives a lot easier.
He takes a copy and just he makes another copy. He is basically copying the file that he made, the page that you basically tell him that is missing. He basically makes a whole.
I was gonna say I want a whole copy.
Yeah, this is gonna be interesting because I don't remember if there's a copy machine specifically, but there is a fax machine. I know that. I think there is a copy machine. But
automatic typewriter.
I would think the copier would be available before the fax.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it real quick, but I think it exists.
Cat is very unhappy. I'm sorry if you can hear him.
Yeah, he just he goes to he lets you know that he just needs to copy the file and he will and he goes to do such things. There is they are.
Yeah, I'll send you a video over so you can look at it later, but it's more or less a giant carbon copy machine.
Yeah, cause like I'm looking at the information about this, and there's like 1947 is like a year where like a office photocopier was introduced, like trying to patent it and stuff. But yes, there is a copier that he does use, which is the one that you basically are showing me. Something similar to, and he basically, it doesn't take you long basically to receive it. It doesn't take very long. And he maybe about like in about like it takes about 10 minutes maybe, and then he hands you the like he puts it into a folder and hands it to you. That should be everything you need.
And it's still like warm to the touch.
Yes.
And I got a signed thing saying he provided it to us on such and such a date.
Yeah. But you do note also that the like the file that he has, because he sent the police a file, which means that if that because they falsified it, they may have had either access to the original copy, which makes you think that either like he sent the original copy to the police and keeps a copy of the file there. Which means you have a copy of the original file.
But the copy of the copy looks legit. It doesn't look edited yet.
No, you like a skilled like man in forgery would be able to see that, like, because you have a photocopy of like the original file, and like it seems like at least that page was edited. And there are there are definitely copies of like the like original file before it was like edited in some way. But you don't know for certain whether or not it was the original copy, but you can tell that the copy that you were looking at is a copy of a copy. It's at least not the file that was written like by him.
Sure.
The copying business is very, very complicated. Now, gentlemen, I would like to continue my my autopsy here. Is there anything else?
I think we're good for today. We may be back.
Yes. When do you want to schedule an appointment?
Let me talk to my people and make sure we can get all the paperwork in place, and then we'll call you probably Monday morning.
All right. I'll set a time on Monday open for you, which will be, let's see, I'll set an appointment for you around 2 p.m. on Monday morning.
2 p.m. Monday?
Yes.
Alright. I'm not sure I can get all the paperwork together by then, but I'll do my best.
If anything, we can call in and let you know.
Yes, I'm keeping it just in case. Just in case you are ready. We can adjust the appointment. Adjust in due time.
Of course.
Which this
All
would
right,
be
I think we're done at the coroner's. Unless there was something else you wanted, Richard.
No, all the questions that I had answered for today.
He stands up and extends his hands to shake your hand, and he does so as he opens the door. He's ready to take your hand. Oh my God, Zia, what are you doing? There's so much noise coming from you.
What is it? What noise?
It's like you're moving stuff.
What does it
Scrabbling.
sound like? I slightly moved my computer?
Wow, that was we heard everything. But yeah,
Does it sound like?
it sounded
Wait,
like.
Hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna move my computer. Is it?
You can hear every atom disassociating and reassociating.
Yeah, it's just like.
No, you're fine.
It's like a world is beginning to form.
Stick over the speaker is broken. I have to pinch the sides to keep the computer together when I'm when I'm closing and opening the laptop.
Oh, beautiful.
I apologize.
It's okay.
And I apologize for my cat too. He's very angry at me and I'm not sure why.
But yes, to continue from where the Dr. Newbar was, he extends his hand as he opens the door and says, "Gentlemen."
I'm really skeevy about shaking his hand because I didn't see him wash his hands after.
He took gloves off. He had gloves on during the thing.
He still didn't wash his hands after he took the gloves off. It's still sort of skeevy to Gene.
But to be fair, you weren't looking at him specifically, so you didn't see that.
You could shake his forearm.
I heard him take the gloves off. I would have heard water run.
Hmm.
I would have heard. I didn't hear him go into a bathroom or something.
Well,
Right?
No, you didn't hear him go into any bathroom, but there is a sink in the room, and you're not you wouldn't necessarily hear it because it was in a different room.
You could salute him and.
But you don't need to. But you don't need to take his hand. He's just extending it towards you.
I reach in, kind of grab, so it gives Gene an excuse to kind of scoot by, and he can give the old wave of the hand.
Yeah.
I just give him a nod and a wave.
Yeah. So.
But there's definitely an awkward half second where Gene's just I'm not sure about this.
And he's just at that time the hand was extended and just he was waiting and just and then Barden just saves you and you're just bye. And Gene kind of you rush towards the door to kind of not having to look at the body. And because of the incident you had, Barden, you kind of avoid looking towards the body. You kind of when you're walking, when you walk and you put your hand to cover your face,
Right.
at the side. You kind of do that to prevent yourself from seeing the body. And you enter the stairwell again. And it feels, for both you, Jean, and Richard, it feels a lot more comfortable than being in that whole morgue area. You both aren't used. Well, Jean isn't used to it, and you have some bad experience, Richard. So you both kind of felt really uncomfortable in there. It's kind of funny. Both of the guys just had a shitty time in the morgue.
Yeah.
My sanity is leaving me.
Sorry about the dog.
Oh, it's okay. I like if I would be
You
like
apologize about the dog when our GM is a bird.
yes, basically. I was about to say like my bird like squeals like all day long. So, but he's been really quiet this time.
Right.
I don't know if you guys can hear it anymore, but my cat is just behind me yelling at me periodically, and I'm so self-conscious because I don't know if anyone can hear it.
Every time he squeaks, I just imagine that there is a cockatiel just flying past you, and it's just like
That's very wrong in my house. I have 3 cats.
But yes, and at this time, is there anything you want to do before you just leave the stairway? It's a perfect time for bonding.
I'm kind of vacant stare again, actually, at the moment.
Gene just wants like a floor worth between him and the morgue at this point.
So you guys start to head up and are gearing yourself to leave the hospital and are feeling somewhat happy that you are. And it is at this time that we turn our attention back towards Leslie and Lisa. Now, remind me, guys, what were you guys doing?
Lisa was going to talk to the reporter.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I was running for the phone.
So, as you go to the phone and you pick it up, do you want to react to this in any way specifically, Leslie?
I'd probably motion for Rob to follow and go stand so that I can clearly eavesdrop.
You don't need to eavesdrop. You can just like come and do like weird 4G speakerphone.
Yeah, well, that's what I meant. I wasn't.
Okay.
I want to be close enough to the phone that I can also hear.
Yeah.
So, as you pick up the phone and you start you were going to dial the operator because you didn't have her personal number. And you dial the operator, and for a moment the phone is kind of silent, and then you hear operator, and this is where we cut. Scene cut.
We're done? Alright.
Yeah. Already,
okay.
We've been at this for almost 4 hours. There wasn't really any good spot to end for like dramatic effect, but that was a pretty good one. Scene end. Slack.
Really suspicious because you ended it there that she's probably already dead.
Well, Gene and Richard are busy being men and not sharing their feelings.
Although I have to say, the whole taco truck note passing thing was probably even better than Jean's little freak out at her office.
Oh god.
What the fuck are you doing?
Richard, eat this. What are you guys doing?
So when we return, it's going to be I'm going to say it's about like for the guys, it's probably I'm going to say it's about 4 p.m. at the time when we return next time. and we will immediately return to the call where when Lisa was calling Miss Underwood. Now, I was so entertained, Brienne, by your note. It was the greatest. It was so beautiful. There were, like, from time to time here, like, pretty good lines, like, and like in the whole like chat on Roll20, there were a couple of good lines, but like my favorite spoken line was the Richard, when you're done reading this, eat it. And I just, like, literally when you said that, I could not hold back my cry of laughter.
I like how Lisa, I'm not
Richard,
even sure
eat
Lisa
this.
got to read the note that everyone was freaking out over.
But the best written line, I think, here was by Jean. It was somewhere here. I'm trying to remember what it was, but it was pretty good.
This could get unprofessional.
This could get unprofessional. It was pretty good. I really liked that line. Like, I would have really loved it if you would have said it just during game and just, like, shit was going on and you just, this could go really unprofessional. And
what was great is we had the dichotomy of, I made the comment about this could get unprofessional, and then Lisa runs in and changes, but then when it switches, both of us walk into Richard's room and he's got to change. And there was this moment of, is he just going to change in the room with Jean there?
I was honestly waiting for some sort of homoerotic joke.
Like if I was ready. If Barden was going to change clothes in the room with Jean, I was going to make the scene sound a lot more sexy than it is. I was just going to make it sound really erotic, and then I was going to say, but Jean doesn't really give a shit, so he's just not watching. So he doesn't.
Well, you know what?
It's just like Richard Barden just like taking off the shirt, and it's just all of these sexy shots, and then it's just Jean in the background, just like holding a file and sipping coffee and being like, eh.
Oh, and the whole argument about how to get into.
How to get in the house?
Yeah, that was pretty great because that just. It was like a really long just argument of how to do it, and then suddenly, wait, we could just, either say, yeah, I need to use the toilet, or like, we have a flat tire. Like, the two most basic things were the last things you got. The first ideas were how should we injure each other in a way that we could go into the house and ask for help? Because, like, when she talked about having the knife and just, like, we could, like, make a scratch on you with the knife. And I was like, couldn't you just as well just stab each other? I was just waiting for that. That would have been glorious.
So there was one great moment you guys missed while I'm reading the file that's got the updated stuff with, that she was tied up with cables. Brianna just leaned over and said, ask the doctor if it was kinky.
God.
That is fucking great. Oh, that was beautiful. Ask the doctor if it was kinky. The doctor would have literally just looked at you and like, what?
What? There's no way I could have asked.
This old man from the 40s going, was it kinky?
Did she show her ankles? Oh god, it's too much.
Like, oh my god, this sounds horrible. This is the worst. But also looking at the chat now, like seeing just that was an experience. Jean was too scracked out to throttle the police this time, and just Richard, you going, damn it, Jean, he's a doctor, not a cop. In my best McCoy, Richard leans in closely and to Jean and whispers, "Call me Dick."
Shit.
I can just see them as they're walking up the stairs saying this, and just like as Jean is about to open up the door to lead back into the hall in the area of the hospital, he just leans in and whispers into Jean's ear, just like, "Call me Dick."
Okay, we need a
In my
ship
head,
name
like,
now.
And just Jean is freaked the fuck out.
In my head, I see them in the motel, and Richard's like changing his shirt, and Gene calls him kid one too many times. And he's just like, just call me Dick.
Yeah.
It's like, you write it down, it sounds homoerotic. It's like, no, he's just pissed off.
It makes a whole lot more sense in that like in that time, but like it makes so much creepier sense in the hospital.
What do you think, guys? I kind of like Rasheen.
I think we've already shipped 2 characters together now. It's Richard and Jean. That's a ship.
Yeah, exactly. Gennard or Rasheen?
I'm not sure if this is a romantic ship or just a ship just for the sake of shipping. But hey, who knows? It's some sorts of ship, probably a comedic one.
Oh, we
Now
already
we'll go-
know the buddy cop ship is Gene and Lisa.
Yeah. This episode really I found it really entertaining.
There you guys go. Discord.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh yes. Yes. This is beautiful. Heart this. There's a whole lot. I'm going to put this there. Like I'm going to share this on the. Here, this Richard Barden just as he's changing clothing. Yeah, that I'm putting this image where the chat is usually, so they just see now that in the chat window. It's beautiful. Perfect. This is art.
If I could roll my R's, I'd make the cat noise.
And at this note, we are going to say goodbye to our special agents, Jean, Lisa. Oh wait, Lisa's not a special agent. Let's fix this. Jean, Jean. Oh well, because I said Lisa, I said Gina. We're going to say goodbye now to our grumpy special agent Jean, who specializes in forgeries. Goodbye, Jean. And we're going to say goodbye to our criminal expert Leslie Hart. Bye-bye.
Au revoir.
And to our last special agent, the one that the heartthrob, the man of charms, the one who is showing his abs at this current moment in the chat window, Richard Barden. Goodbye.
My pleasure.
I am so not surprised. And to our only not special agent, Officer Lisa, the Bruno kid, Little Miss Bruno. We also say goodbye to her.
Goodbye.
And we will see you guys in the next episode of Unsolved, the Black Dahlia case. How things are getting fishy for our 4 members, and it's gonna get interesting in the next couple of days, for them at least. But until then, goodbye.